I'm pretending to cultivate immortality in kindergarten. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326 Room. As she got closer, she saw Lin Sehengren talking on the phone. His clear and clean voice was filled with a hint of doting, and he was obviously talking to a girl. Well, you three should pack your bags this afternoon. I'm out. As for whether I will go back to school for dinner in the evening, I probably won't. You three don't have to wait for me. Jiang Jingshi couldn't hear the voice on the phone clearly, but it sounded like someone was refuting Lin Sehengren. Lin Sehengren smiled. Okay, then I'll hang up first. Bye. The three kids on the other end of the phone heard in the dormitory that Lin Sehengren had gone to accompany teacher Jiang in the afternoon, and they could only look at each other, and they couldn't help being jealous. On this side, when Jiang Jingshi approached, her happy expression was mixed with a hint of jealousy. Seeing Lin Sehengren hang up the phone, he asked gently, Zhang, who are you talking to? Lin Sehengren did not hide anything. With those three little guys, they asked me if I would go back to school for dinner in the evening, but I really want to eat the food you cooked today, so I won't go back to school for dinner. Jiang Jingshi was surprised that Zhang really didn't hide anything from her. Even at school, Zhang didn't seem to deliberately avoid anything even in front of her. Nodding, I'll cook for you in the evening. Lin Sehengren looked at Jiang Jingshi's expression that was a bit like a little resentful woman, and understood what she was thinking. This time, Lin Sehengren applied for day school and planned to explain the matter of He Qing and others to Jiang Jingshi. Let's go to your place, he said. The two walked side by side, and Jiang Jingshi still had half-frame glasses on her nose. Maybe it was because of the matching of clothes, which led to the sense of déjà vu of teachers and students walking together from the perspective of passers-by. Of course, no one cares about these things outside the campus. When passing by a clothing store, there was a snow-white dress hanging in the glass display cabinet. Conspicuous and luxurious, yet high-end and simple. Lin Sehengren suddenly thought, Jingshi, have you ever worn a dress when you attend various activities? Jiang Jingshi's expression returned to normal and she nodded. Yes, she also looked at the display cabinet next to her and smiled. But when I attend activities, I mostly wear a blue dress. Blue? I really haven't thought of this color. I don't usually see you wearing blue clothes, Jiang Jingshi explained, because most of the time I attend events with Kyankian. She basically wears black and white. If I wear white again, even if the style is different, it will feel a bit repetitive, so I wear blue, and I also like blue very much. In order not to repeat herself with her sister, she wore blue. In her heart, Jingshi really dotes on Jiang Jin. Are there any photos? I want to see them. Jiang Jingshi took out her phone. I'll look for them. She opened the album and flipped through it for about 2 minutes. Among the thousands of photos, Jiang Jingshi shook her head. It seems that I haven't saved them. Okay, but you have so many photos in your phone? Why did you spend so much time flipping through them? Jiang Jingshi's face turned red. Many are work photos. The actual work photos only accounted for 1/3, and the other 2/3 were photos of Lin Sehengren. She even had photos of Lin Sehengren in kindergarten. Some of these were specially found by Jiang Jingshi when Pan Lin went to Lin Sehengren's files, and some were what Jiang Jingshi asked Lin Xiaoli for these days. Since Lin Xiaoli started working, the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law have been chatting happily on WeChat and on the phone. Jiang Jingshi looked at the dresses in the window, but white ones look better, like a wedding dress, she said with longing. When Zhang marries me in the future, can I choose a bigger wedding dress? Something like a princess dress, of course. Jiang Jingshi was happy to see Lin Sehengren agree, and deliberately narrowed her eyes and said, then the teacher would like to thank Lin Sehengren. Lin Sehengren also deliberately responded, Teacher Jiang, you're welcome. When they came to the house that Jiang Jingshi rented now, the room was particularly large, about 170 square meters at a glance. The room was not very clean. But it was definitely not dirty, just a little messy, because there were many company documents and materials on the coffee table in the living room. Too many things. After Jiang Jingshi entered the room, she took off her high heels and revealed her pink soles. She found men's slippers from the shoe cabinet next to her and placed them at Lin Sehengren's feet. The room is a bit messy. I haven't had much time to clean it up these days. If I had known you were coming yesterday, I would have cleaned it in advance. It's already very clean. I know how busy Jingshi is. Jiang Jingshi smiled and said, I chose a smaller house on purpose this time. What do you think of it? Lin Zhengren smiled and thought that the nearly 200 square meter house was not small at first glance. Jiang Jingshi said, when I first rented the house, I thought it would be more cozy if it was smaller, but when I actually lived there, I found that it was really difficult for a person to create cozy feelings. I noticed that you didn't sleep well these days. What time do you go to bed now? He asked, looking at Jiang Jingshi's face. Jiang Jingshi didn't know how to respond this time. Seeing Lin Zhengren with those three girls every day, this matter would always affect her mood. Not sure, maybe sometimes around 9 o'clock, and sometimes around 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock? When Jingshi said sleeping, she didn't mean just lying down, did she? Lying on the bed counts as sleeping. She was stunned, and slowly nodded. Yeah, that's what I mean. Lin Zhengren let out a long breath. The two did not stay in the living room. Lin Zhengren and Jiang Jingshi went directly to the bedroom to observe. The bed in the bedroom was as messy as the coffee table in the living room. The quilt was spread out on the bed in an irregular manner, and there were also many materials and documents on it. There was also a laptop computer that was always open on the desk next to it. They all sat on the bed, and the two were silent. The closer the couple is, the more they feel that talking is unnecessary. They just looked at each other, and gradually held hands together. Jiang Jingshi's mature and emotional face was full of girlish shyness, the nervousness of being stared at by the person she likes. Lin Zhengren looked at Jiang Jingshi's current dress and was really into the play. Teacher, can I kiss you? Jiang Jingshi became more shy after hearing this. A wisp of hot air exhaled from her sweet lips. Of course you can, let alone kissing. Lin Zhengren can do anything to the teacher. Anything? What do you mean? Jiang Jingshi didn't dare to look at him. Her eyes were sparkling, and she was also wondering why she said such a thing. She said gently, does Lin Zhengren have to ask the teacher like this? Does he have to bully the teacher like this? He smiled and slowly moved closer to her face. Their lips kissed. Jiang Jingshi's other hand was placed on his chest. When the atmosphere heated up, the two of them lay on the bed. Looking at each other again, there was less evasion in her eyes, and she clearly stated her thoughts and demands. I'll make dinner for you tonight. Zheng, don't leave. Stay here to accompany the teacher and your sister, okay? Chapter 327, no matter how gentle you are, you will still lose your temper. Lin Zhengren smiled without saying anything, and responded, Jingshi really likes role-playing. She used to call herself sister from time to time, and now she calls herself teacher as well. Jiang Jingshi was so embarrassed that she couldn't say a word. With one hand pulling the quilt to cover her face and the other hand half burying her face in the quilt, she complained, Zheng is really good at bullying girls sometimes. It was obviously you who called me the first, Lin Zhengren replied. I'm not leaving today. She was surprised, revealing a beautiful peach blossom. I'm looking at Lin Zhengren, full of joy. Zheng has never regretted what he said, and he can't regret it. What's there to regret? It stands to reason that boys should keep girls. Now Jingshi has kept me, and I have no reason to leave again. Besides, isn't this my girlfriend's home? Jiang Jingshi's heartbeat accelerated, and she completely put down the quilt that was covering her face. Then what should we do now? Let me show Zheng around my room? Isn't it a little too early to cook dinner now? We basically took a look when we entered the room. Is your bedroom in the villa decorated like this too? She shook her head. It's different. My bedroom in the villa is more luxurious, and there are more photos of you on the table. This house is just a temporary residence, so I don't plan to make it too formal. Lin Zhengren reached out and took off Jiang Jingshi's glasses. Without the glasses, the teacher-like feeling was reduced by half. Jiang Jingshi blushed and said, why did you take off my glasses? Otherwise it will be inconvenient later. Didn't Jingshi just say that I can do anything I want to you? Yes, anything is fine, but what do you want to do? Lin Zhengren stretched out his hand towards her waist, without any force, and the willow waist was obediently held in his arms. They hugged and kissed again. It was a bit hot in the afternoon of midsummer, and the air conditioner in the room was humming and blowing cool air. Half-drawn curtains. Unimportant documents scattered on the floor. Jiang Jingshi's slender hair was scattered on the pillow. Her gentle eyes were as crystal clear as dew, and she interlocked her hands with Lin Zhengren's fingers. Zheng, kiss me quickly. The two kissed passionately for the nth time. Jiang Jingshi was a few years older than Lin Zhengren. Although it was the first time for her to completely give herself to a man, she had no experience at all. But after all, it was her personality trend. The eldest lady of the Zhang family was quite proactive. Compared with He Qing and others, her style is completely different. She seems to be very eager to hug her beloved. She doesn't want Lin Sihengren to leave her for a moment. Her slender jade fingers grasped Lin Sihengren's back in an indescribable interweaving. They obviously came to the bedroom at noon, but everything seemed to be quiet around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Lin Sihengren lay on the pillow with a smile on his face. Jingxi, Zhang Jingxi crawled out of the quilt and pressed her lips against his chest. She closed her eyes and waited for a moment before looking up and asking, Zhang is born to bully people. Let sister rest for a while. I really don't have much strength. Lin Sihengren hugged Zhang Jingxi and looked at her red eyes. Am I not letting Jingxi rest? Jingxi is much more proactive than I thought. Zhang Jingxi blushed unspeakably. The rare lie was a coquettish tone. Why do you have to bully me like this? I'll make you stand outside the classroom tomorrow as punishment. Lin Sihengren heard it, but still asked curiously, what? Zhang Jingxi stopped talking and said gently, nothing. Then am I not Zhang's girlfriend? Since she is a girlfriend, of course I have to exercise some girlfriend's rights. But, she and Lin Sihengren lay on the pillow together and looked at each other. Zhang is very cute when doing this kind of thing, which is not quite what I imagined. I thought you would be very fierce. Lin Sihengren grinned. Where did this impression come from? I feel like you seem to have said that I am fierce several times, but I haven't been angry with Jingxi so far, right? She inexplicably thought of the time when she was young and shook her head. It's hard to say. Lin Sihengren smiled meaningfully. Is it true? Zhang Jingxi also smiled. Anyway, my sister is very afraid of you. Lin Sihengren habitually gave her a headbang. Zhang Jingxi exclaimed, surprised. Zhang can also hit people. You see, I said you're fierce. Lin Sihengren was helpless. Hugged her. Weak but happy, Zhang Jingxi carefully felt Lin Sihengren's heartbeat and the smell of his body. They hugged each other for who knows how long. Lin Sihengren suddenly said, Jingxi, you didn't sleep well these days because of the relationship between me, He Qing, Lily and Wenwen, right? Zhang Jingxi opened her eyes in his arms, her long eyelashes trembling. Jealousy appeared in her eyes almost instantly. Well, because Zhang didn't mean to avoid me at all, he was so blatantly nice to the three of them, eating with them, sitting with them in class, and occasionally doing some intimate actions. Sometimes I stood in the corridor and watched you guys secretly chatting in class, and seeing how you liked them so much, I had no appetite for lunch, let alone sleeping well. This was the first time that Zhang Jingxi complained to Lin Sihengren like this, although it was a small complaint. But it had never happened before, which showed how much jealous she was as a girlfriend during this period. Lin Sihengren did not explain his thoughts immediately, but continued to ask, anything else? Zhang Jingxi hugged Lin Sihengren tightly. Yes, since we went to college, although we see each other every day, you rarely send me messages. The messages are 1/4 less than during the summer vacation. And you said today that you wanted to find me to handle the information. Are you going to apply for a day study? What does Zhang want to do? She suddenly felt a little aggrieved, and the more she spoke, the more aggrieved she felt. Don't look at me like this. My sister is also very fierce. No one in the company dares to talk back to me, and no one dares to speak loudly to me. It's just you who blatantly bullies my sister like this. She sniffed twice and hugged tighter than before. Lin Sihengren could feel his chest was a little wet, although I know I shouldn't be jealous, because I'm not stupid. I knew a long time ago that you had an unusual relationship with the three of them, but even so, I still want to follow Zhang. I want to be your girlfriend, even if I know you are very fickle, but even if I know everything, it will be uncomfortable to see the man I like pampering other women with my own eyes. She could feel Lin Sihengren comforting her and stroking her long hair. That's what I wanted to say. I'm sorry for being so willful. Lin Sihengren smiled. How can this be considered willful? It's just that Jingxi can lose her temper, and she looks cute when she loses her temper. Zhang Jingxi raised her head. The eldest daughter of the Zhang family, who is always high and mighty with graceful manners and elegant posture, also acted like a little woman in front of her boyfriend. No matter how gentle I am to Zhang, how can it be cute if I still lose my temper when facing such things? Lin Sihengren touched her hair. It is true that I have spent less time with Jingxi these days. I will make more time to accompany you in the future. Zhang Jingxi bit her lip. Zhang always keeps his word. Well, so. Jingxi agrees that I can have 4 girlfriends. Zhang Jingxi hesitated and kissed Lin Sihengren lightly on the lips, looking cute like a little resentful woman again. Since the day Zhang saved my life is yours. How can I not agree? I give you everything I have, but if you insist on going to school as a day student, I will go too. We are sisters anyway, I should be able to go, right? Chapter 328 Baring Teeth. Lin Zhengren thought for a moment. Of course you can, but I know you are not that familiar with the three of them. Are you used to living together if I trick you guys into doing it? Zhang Jingshi immediately answered, of course. I have a strong ability to adapt, and it won't be hard to get used to it even if we live together, right? We sleep on our own and are at school during the day anyway. We may be together on weekends, she said seriously, since you are all Zhang's girlfriends, we will live together sooner or later, so it is better to adapt sooner than later. Besides, Zhang can't just leave you here alone, right? Lin Zhengren smiled. Actually, Jingshi, living together may not be what you think. We don't have separate bedrooms for each person, but we all sleep in one bed, so it may not be possible for each of us to sleep in our own bed. Zhang Jingshi's pretty face was really stunned, as if it stopped there. Then they all sat up suddenly, supporting themselves with their hands, and said shyly and puzzledly, what? Zhang is planning to sleep in the same bed with the three of them every night. Lin Zhengren knew that others would definitely think wrongly of such words, so he explained, although we are together, it is not what you think. That is too open. We have not reached that level yet, at present, it is just a more rigorous way of saying it, don't think wrongly. Zhang Jingshi was speechless, and suddenly she became angry and blushed and said, even if we don't do that kind of thing together, sleeping together is enough, she added in a low voice, but with so many girlfriends, I have already thought that there might be such a thing in the future. Jingshi, what are you talking about? The higher the position Zhang Jingshi held, the more ashamed she felt when she imagined that kind of scene. Nothing. I'll make it clear that my sister will not agree to that kind of thing. Even if I listen to Zhang more, it won't work. After all, this kind of thing is too. Lin Zhengren, obviously he didn't say anything. Lin Zhengren hugged her in his arms again and let her stick close to him. He asked, so, in summary, I said that if you are not familiar with them, you may not be used to living with them. He let out a long breath, although I know that the more I say this, the more Jingshi will want to go. Zhang Jingshi's slender fingers tightly grasped her beloved. Gentle but with jealousy, of course, you have slept with them. If I don't go, I won't have to sleep every night after work. I can only imagine what you do with them every night. Lin Zhengren hugged Zhang Jingshi, who had a unique body fragrance. She suddenly smiled and said, but just treat them as sisters. Anyway, I slept with Kaianqian when I was a child, although we haven't slept in the same bed for many years. Zhang Jingshi suddenly remembered some childhood memories, still feeling Lin Zhengren's hand stroking her head. She looked up curiously. Zhang, I have a question for you. Do you like to touch girls' heads, huh? Do you? He stopped what he was doing. Zhang Jingshi nodded. Yes, usually when I lean on your shoulder. And now I feel that once a girl does such an intimate thing with you, you can't help but do this kind of thing as a comfort. Lin Zhengren really didn't care about this kind of thing. But Jingshi's words made it true, so when did he develop this habit? A voice suddenly appeared in his mind. Brother Zhengren. Keep touching my head. Brother Zhengren, I feel so comfortable when you touch my head. The tail of a certain little fox was shaking. Lin Zhengren's forehead was sweaty, and he suddenly understood where this habit came from. Did that fox suddenly cultivate such a habit for him for so many years? Zhang. Lin Zhengren looked at Jingshi again, but found that Zhang Jingshi looked like a little complaining woman with puffed cheeks again. He wanted to laugh. What's wrong, Zhang Jingshi? I always felt that Zhang looked like he was thinking about other girls just now. Lin Zhengren did not deny it. Zhang Jingshi suddenly covered her mouth and smiled lightly. Zhang is a playboy, but if Zhang likes to do this kind of thing, then have you ever been touched on the head by other girls? Lin Zhengren replied, no, no one has ever done this to me, except for my mother who occasionally did this when she was a child. Zhang Jingshi looked expectant. Then can my sister do this to Zhang? I want to try it. I wonder if it's okay? Let me try it. She stretched out a finger. Just try it once. As expected, there are many girlfriends with different personalities, and some unexpected requests have also appeared. Okay, so then Zhang Jingshi took the upper hand by lying on the pillow. She hugged Lin Zhengren in her arms. Lin Zhengren was pressed against her chest instead. The woman's slender white palm stroked Lin Zhengren's hair, with a faint blush on her face. Zhang is so cute. Lin Zhengren opened his eyes in a world of white, pulling the quilt with his hand. Zhang Jingshi exclaimed in surprise. So there was another round of lovemaking. Tonight's dinner is pasta with seafood. Zhang Jingshi, who had experienced the taste of a woman, seemed to be more and more mature. She kept biting her lips while cooking, and her face was also slightly red. After preparing the exquisite and expensive ingredients, she sat next to Lin Zhengren and finished the dinner together with a smile. After dinner, he drew the curtains and Lin Zhengren carried Zhang Jingshi to the bedroom. The next morning, the sun was shining brightly. In order to avoid suspicion, Lin Zhengren and Zhang Jingshi naturally went to school separately. Zhang Jingshi, wearing pajamas, saw Lin Zhengren off at the door of her house. Zhang, go slowly on the way to school. I will be able to check out soon. Lin Zhengren hummed. I may have to go to you to apply for day school today, Zhang Jingshi said gently. By the way, I need the signature of my aunt or uncle, otherwise I can't apply. Well, let's go. Zhang Jingshi held Lin Zhengren's hand. Lin Zhengren looked at the mature and beautiful Zhang Jingshi and kissed her on the lips. Teacher, let's go. Well, see you later at school, classmate Lin Zhengren. She was satisfied. Today on the campus of Tsinghua University and Peking University, Zhang Jin and her sister met by chance on campus. The two sisters looked at each other from a distance, and Zhang Jin was still so cold. But today Zhang Jingshi unexpectedly greeted her sister gently. Classmate Zhang Jin, good morning. Zhang Jin gritted her teeth. With a cold snort, they passed by. Zhang Jingshi stopped and turned back. Zhang Jin is still so bad-tempered today. She didn't even say hello to the teacher. Tisk, my sister is still so cute. She can even show her teeth. Zhang Jingshi sighed. Zhang Jin turned her head halfway and looked like she wanted to kill someone. She quickened her pace and got away from her sister. Chapter 329, First Encounter in Kindergarten. The express delivery station is always crowded, but there are fewer students in the morning. Lin Zhengren walked by here alone and came to the place where Zhang Jingshi dropped the ring yesterday. While there was no one around, he squatted down and looked at the dark and dirty sewer. It was true that there was no ring to be seen. But he stretched out his hand and gathered his spiritual power. The ability of spiritual energy to control objects is very convenient, but he often stays with a few little girls. Many times, even such a convenient ability is difficult to use. Suppose you want to drink water, sometimes you only need a look. A fox will be curious, Brother Zhengren, do you want to drink water? I'll get it for you. Or every time he goes out to play, He Qing always has half a bottle of mineral water in his bag. When he says he wants to buy water, he just takes it out directly. So Lin Zhengren used the control of objects more often than when he first got it. Now, it is indeed not used more than a few times a day. In the muddy sewer, Lin Zhengren imagined the characteristics of diamonds. The diamond ring hidden in the mud seemed to be attracted by an invisible force at this moment. It broke free from the mud and flew towards Lin Zhengren's palm, held in his hand. 2. Lin Zhengren looked at the two diamond rings in his palm, wondering how he could have gotten an unexpected reward. One was the one that Zhang Jingshi often wore and was very delicate, and the other looked smaller, but it was probably not cheap for ordinary people, and it looked like a wedding ring. Lin Zhengren found a bathroom and rinsed them under the faucet. Both rings returned to their original sparkling appearance. Lin Zhengren sent the unfamiliar one to the Lost and Found department. Teacher, this should be a diamond ring, right? I don't know which teacher dropped it before, and I just picked it up at the sewer entrance. The teacher at the Lost and Found department was surprised that she actually recognized it. Isn't this the wedding ring that someone dropped a week ago? I couldn't find it after searching for it for a long time. Thank you, classmate. Leave your mobile number. I guess the teacher will be very grateful to you when he knows that the ring has been found. Lin Zhengren said, thanks are enough, as long as it can be returned to its original owner. I'm leaving. Then he left the Lost and Found department. The teacher at the lost place was surprised. What a good student. Walking to the road, looking at the only remaining ring of Zhang Jingshi in his hand, Lin Zhengren carefully examined it and unexpectedly found a few strange small words engraved on the inner ring of the ring. Love at first sight. Although Lin Zhengren often saw Zhang Jingshi wearing this ring, he had never seen these 4 small words on the inner ring of the ring. Love at first sight. Does it mean that Jingshi liked me when she first saw me? Recalling the scene of their first encounter at the gate of the high school because of instant noodles, Lin Zhengren felt strange no matter how he thought about it. At that time, Jingshi was obviously wary of him. At most she was curious, which was completely different from the way she looked at him now. And he thought of what they talked about in Zhang Jingxi's bedroom yesterday after they were intimate. She always mentioned that he was very fierce to her, but Lin Zhengren really had no impression. He continued to move forward. Thinking boredly, wasn't the high school campus the first time he met Jingxi? It stands to reason that his memory would not be wrong under the blessing of the system. Suddenly, a strange memory flashed through his mind. In my mind, a girl with a face a little bit like Zhang Jingxi, but a completely different personality, said to me in confusion, "Are we really going this way? Her personality is a bit like that of Xiao He Qing." In my memory, I seem to have answered fiercely, "Don't ask so many questions, just follow me. Follow me and we can get out. You are so brave to run around in a strange place alone, you are so fierce," she whispered. "How am I fierce?" Lin Zhengren asked back. The little girl shrank her neck in fear, thinking that everywhere was fierce, but because she was lost in the community, she still followed obediently. At this moment, Lin Zhengren suddenly froze, wondering when this happened. Was that little girl Jingxi? I didn't care at all. Looking at the ring in his hand again, Lin Zhengren blinked and suddenly had an idea. He took out his mobile phone and called Pan Lin. Pan Lin, who answered the call, was very respectful. "Hello, Mr. Lin? Why are you calling me?" "Lin Zhengren, there's something. I want to ask you something. Is the ring on Jingxi's hand custom made?" "Yes, but it was custom made several years ago. It was made by a very skilled master," Lin Zhengren continued to nod. "I see. Go buy some raw materials for the diamond ring today and mail them to me. Buy more. And I have one more thing to ask you. Jingxi knew me before, right?" Pan Lin paused on the phone, and her tone became uncertain, because Zhang Jingxi had reminded her before that there were some things that could not be said. "What do you mean, President Lin?" "I didn't hear clearly, Lin Zhengren, don't pretend. I suddenly remembered today that I should have met Jingxi once many years ago, right? I think as Jingxi's personal secretary, you can't be unaware of this." Pan Lin smiled helplessly for no reason. "You finally remembered it. President Zhang has actually been waiting for you to remember it." "Well, she met you a long time ago, when she was in kindergarten." Lin Zhengren simply asked Pan Lin about what happened. The first meeting in his memory immediately appeared clearly in front of him. Although Lin Zhengren has a very strong memory, he really doesn't deliberately remember how many people he has seen since he was a child, how many bowls of rice he has eaten, and what he ate for each meal. Of course, if he tries hard to think about it, he can still recall it. After Pan Lin finished speaking, she asked privately, "Is Mr. Zhang happy after going to school these days? Can you meet Mr. Lin every day?" "Yes, I can see him every day." Pan Lin was relieved on the phone, feeling that the couple she had supported could finally be together. "That's great." She hung up the phone and put the ring in her pocket. In the morning class, Lin Zhengren waited for Pan Lin's express delivery, feeling the jealous eyes of the three little ones during class. Han Wenwen lay on the table and looked at him meaningfully with her fox eyes. "It's okay if you didn't come back for dinner. I heard that Brother Zhengren didn't even go back to the dormitory last night." He Qing's pure almond eyes blinked. "You stayed overnight at the instructor's house last night, Lin Zhengren." Zhang Zuli turned her head and snorted, "Playboy Zhengren." Lin Zhengren looked at the blackboard in the distance helplessly. Even if they were talking about four girlfriends openly, they all knew each other's existence. But jealousy seems to be unavoidable anyway. Lin Zhengren habitually raised his hand and knocked the three little girls on the head. The three of them became more honest. Zhang Jingxi, who was standing in the corridor outside the classroom, was watching the scene with a snicker, but she was also jealous. Zhang was really good to the three of them. Looking at the podium, Lin Zhengren said, "I'll tell you one thing. In a few days, Jingxi will also move in with us." The three of them covered their heads and blushed. In unison, with different expressions, one can imagine what they were thinking. Chapter 330 Shocking Lin Xiaoli. After class, everyone walked out of the classroom together. Lin Zhengren stood somewhere on the campus. The three little ones surrounded Lin Zhengren, and there was no one around. He Qing knocked her hands nervously in front of her. "Although I knew there would be such a day, I didn't expect to have to sleep in the same bed with the instructor from the beginning." Zhang Zuli asked, "When exactly will the instructor move in? Will we be together on the first day?" Lin Zhengren said, "Jingxi has to check out of the house in the next 2 days. We may not be together on the first night, but it is not certain. Anyway, it will be in the next few days. She will move in after checking out of the house, Han Wenwen covered her face and stared at Lin Zhengren without saying a word. Greedy brothers Zhengren. Jiang Zuli pouted and complained in a low voice, "It's okay to sleep with He Qing Fox, but it always feels a little awkward with the instructor. I know that the three of you are not that familiar with Jingxi, but Jingxi is very good. Just get along slowly. There is no need to be too familiar with each other from the beginning. That is too unrealistic. You three should just be the same as usual." The three nodded. Lin Zhengren's phone dinged, and he found that it was a message from Jiang Jingxi. He asked if he had told his uncle and aunt that she had already printed out the application for day school and he could pick it up at any time. After Lin Zhengren replied, he found his mother's phone and sat down on a nearby bench. "Don't stand for the three of you. Sit down for a while. I'll call my parents to tell them about the day school." Jingxi has already printed out the application form. The phone was connected. After a few beeps, my mother's voice came from the other end, and there was some noise around, as if many people were talking. "Ranran? What's wrong, Mom? Are you at work?" Lin Zhengren sat on the bench with the three of them. "Well, I'm at work, counting the newly arrived cosmetics with my colleagues in the department." "Is there something?" Lin Zhengren smiled deliberately. "Mr. Lin, please go ahead." Lin Zhengren laughed and explained, "It's like this, Mom. I want to apply for day study." "Day study? Does it mean not living in the dormitory?" "Well, the school requires the signature of parents to apply for day study, so I told you in advance." Lin Zhengren thought for a while. "Okay, Ranran is a big boss now, and there are a lot of things to deal with. It is really not convenient to always live in the dormitory. But where are you going to live in the future? In the company? Or rent a house outside?" "Rent a house, live with the four of them." "Oh, sure." "Huh?" Lin Zhengren was shocked when she heard something. Her eyes widened and her mouth opened. "Ranran, what did you say?" Mom seemed to have heard something big just now. Lin Zhengren, "I didn't say anything, just rent a house. I meant the second sentence." "What did you say in the second sentence?" "Oh," he said it in a different way. "I mean, I plan to rent a house outside with He Qing, Lili, Wenwen and Jingxi, and live together. The four of us will live together, of course." Mom's voice was deafening, and her tone was raised many times. She said nervously, "Of course, how did you come up with this idea?" "Mom doesn't agree." "I definitely don't agree. How can you let these girls live together? They will definitely fight. At that time, quarrels will even be trivial matters. It's possible that something serious will happen." Lin Zhengren trembled on the phone. "I feel terrible just thinking about it. The confrontation between girls is quite terrifying." The three little ones sitting next to Lin Zhengren naturally heard what their aunt said. They blushed and were shy, thinking that their aunt certainly didn't know how the relationship between them was now. But it is true that if it were a normal situation, if Lin Zhengren only liked one person, then it is really possible that they would do something to each other. In the world of exclusiveness, the ending of liking one person can't be anything except that both of them will get hurt. Lin Zhengren was ashamed. "Mom, no." Lin Zhengren didn't let Lin Zhengren speak, and interrupted him with a shake of her head. "No, no, no. Mom is a girl, and girls can understand the feelings of girls best. This is absolutely not allowed." "I don't agree. Ranran, although Mom knows you are very capable, you can't be like this when it comes to relationships," she asked hurriedly. "By the way, Ranran, will you be back this weekend?" "Well, I said I would go back." "Okay. Mom and Dad will discuss this issue with you after you come back this week." "You?" Lin Zhengren suddenly became gentler, as if to comfort. "You should also take advantage of these few days to think about the answer. I know this matter may be cruel to Ranran, because we grew up together, but there must be a choice. You have grown up, and ambiguity is not allowed." Lin Zhengren looked at the expressions of the three people around him. He let out a long breath. "Mom, actually, there is no need to think about it. I had the idea a long time ago." Lin Zhengren on the phone was indeed surprised. "What do you mean? Are you saying that you already have someone in mind? Who is it? Xiao Qingqing? Wenwen? Lili? Or Xiao Jingxi?" "It can't be Xiao Meng, He Qing, Han Wenwen, and Jiang Zuli heard this. Suddenly, they said in unison, "Why is Fang Meng here?" Lin Zhengren was also shocked and embarrassed on the phone. "What's wrong? I heard Xiao Qingqing's voices around me. Could it be that Xiao Qingqing and Wenwen are all? Why are you calling Mom in front of them? Have you told them that you want to move out with them?" Lin Zhengren spoke directly. "Yes, and the answer just now was not any one of them, but that I want them all, and they all agreed. The breeze passed by Lin Zhengren. It also made Lin Xiaoli, who was far away in the company, sluggish. Her son's shocked answer made her brain short-circuited as a mother, and she was speechless for a while. Everything became quiet. Ranran, what did you say? Mom didn't hear clearly. Zhang Zuli suddenly clenched her fist and blushed and added, wait, Auntie, Zhengren didn't make it clear just now, except for Fang Meng. This matter has nothing to do with Fang Meng. Why is there Fang Meng, Ranran? Come home to see Mom on Saturday. And Lily, you all come together, a few days later, on the weekend. The three little ones walked to the parking lot with Lin Zhengren. Zhang Jingshi stood in front of an Audi and waved to everyone. He Qing and the others also greeted Zhang Jingshi. The five of them got into the Audi together. Today, Lin Zhengren drove back to the town. When he started the car, he said, after we get to my house later, I guess my parents will definitely ask you a lot of questions individually. At that time, you can just say whatever you think. Don't look at my mother like that usually. In fact, she is still very sensitive in terms of emotions. It is easy for her to have concerns if you talk nonsense, the four people responded. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331 Four girls meet their parents. The car drove slowly. The four of them were very quiet. After all, meeting uncles and aunts in this way, no one would not be nervous. And the three people before have now become four people. Little He Qing dug into her pocket and took out a bag of candy from it, first giving it to Han Wenwen and Lily. Then she tentatively called out to Zhang Jingshi in the passenger seat, Teacher Zhang. No, Sister Zhang. Zhang Jingshi turned around and smiled. What's wrong? He Qing held out the candy in her hand. Candy? I bought it this morning. Zhang Jingshi actually doesn't usually eat candy, but she still reached out and took it. Thank you, He Qing. You're welcome. Han Wenwen took Xiao King's arm and took the initiative to say hello. The little fox was the most jealous among the few. But the world is not as big as Brother Zhengren's fickleness. Since they are destined to be together, she is still willing to take the initiative to establish friendship. Sister Zhang, you are so beautiful. In fact, Brother Zhengren has mentioned you several times before, and I also asked about you. But I was still shocked when I saw you in person at the beginning of the school year. Zhang Jingshi put the candy in her mouth. I think the same way about Wenwen. When I first saw you, I was also surprised that you were so beautiful and had such a strong personality. The same goes for He Qing. She thought you were incredibly cute when she first saw you. Thank you, Sister Zhang, the two responded. Zhang Jingshi looked at Zhang Zuli who was looking out the window again. As for Lily, after all, this is not the first time that He Qing and Lily have met. I remember I said Lily was very beautiful a few years ago. Zhang Zuli smiled awkwardly and coughed. Thank you. I heard from Zhengren that Sister Zhang will also live with us in a few days. Zhang Jingshi blushed and nodded. Yes, since we are all sisters and are willing to follow Zhang, we will get familiar with each other sooner or later. After Zhang's day school procedures are completed, I will also move in. And you don't have to call me sister. Although I am a few years older than you, we have the same status in private. You can call me Jingshi. Little He Qing blinked her eyes cutely, but I think the name Sister Zhang is very intimate and it's easy to call. Han Wenwen also nodded. Me too. Zhang Zuli also smiled and said, Zhengren should call me Jingshi. She scratched her face. Zhang Jingshi nodded gently. Well, you can call me whatever you want. We are all sisters. The three of them felt that Zhang Jingshi was really gentle and her voice was also nice. Han Wenwen raised her hand and asked in confusion, Sister Zhang, I have a question. I think you are a pretty good person, but why, every time I see you and Zhang Jin together, it seems like you two sisters are hostile to each other? Zhang Jingshi thought about it and blinked her peach blossom eyes twice. Well, maybe you are both only children and don't understand each other. Sisters have lived together since childhood, so there are bound to be many conflicts of all kinds, plus the rebellious years. Of course, the most important thing is, she also smiled awkwardly, with some shadows on her face. Kyankian, as my sister, actually likes Zhang, likes her brother-in-law. Just because of this matter, we have not been looking at each other well recently, especially kissing Zhang in front of my parents. At this moment, the three of them were laughing. They could indeed clearly feel the hostility between the sisters. Zhang Jingshi let out a long sigh. Of course, although there is hostility, it is only on the surface. I haven't felt anything in the past few days, because Zhang, she said shyly, I am now completely Zhang's person. Qian Qian can't have any ideas anymore. It's impossible for her to win me. The three little ones suddenly looked at Lin Zhengren, who was driving. Each of them stared at each other with strange eyes. Such a sudden night out really surprised the three of them. Zhang Jingshi was gentle and jealous and curious. By the way, let me ask a personal question. Have you three slept with Zhang? The faces of the three little ones were flushed. The questions that can be asked by being a few years older are indeed different. Zhang Zuli looked out the window and said proudly, do you think Zhengren, this playboy, won't do anything to us? But he didn't touch us a few times. Zhang Jingshi looked at Lin Zhengren with a strong sense of jealousy. Sure enough, Zhang is a little greedy in this regard. He won't just watch and not touch. Lin Zhengren drove the car speechlessly. What you are saying is reasonable for me to do some intimate things with my girlfriend, or I will be pure for the next month? No one will touch me. The four of them suddenly subconsciously hurried to stop him. What if he didn't touch them? But Lin Zhengren followed up with a sentence, just kidding. This kind of thing is actually a bit addictive once it starts. The four of them blushed with shame, took back the words they were about to say, and sat back in silence. It's more than just addiction. In fact, every girl sitting here has privately used the person driving to relax alone countless times. It's human nature after tasting the fruit. Little He Qing asked not long after, by the way, we haven't mentioned the serious matters after chatting for so long. Uncle and Aunt won't be angry with Zhengren when they know about this, right? It's okay for us, but I'm afraid Zhengren will be scolded. No one answered, and it was difficult to guess, with a worried look on their faces. However, Lin Zhengren said confidently, don't worry, my mother will definitely ask about this matter clearly. Even if she is angry, from the day I decided to let you be my girlfriend, I will definitely be responsible for you for the rest of my life. No matter what difficulties, I will be with you in the end. Don't worry. Everyone felt relieved because of this, and the backbone was not broken, so they were not afraid. After a long journey, finally returned to the town from the university. Lin Zhengren drove the cart to the gate of the community and stopped. We're home. He walked slowly towards the place where they lived with the four extremely nervous girls. Everyone had various thoughts in their minds. No matter how to say it, talking about four girlfriends is a very unbelievable thing in the eyes of the elders. But everyone was aware of it. The five of them stood outside the door together. Lin Zhengren knocked on the door. Mom and Dad, it's me. I'm back. Lin Xiali and Lin Yingjin, who were sitting on the sofa in the room, were talking about something. When they heard the knock on the door, they stood up to open the door. When the door opened, Lin Xiali looked at the four girls behind her son. Everyone nodded obediently and said in unison, hello. Uncle and Aunt, Lin Xiali and Lin Yingjin looked at each other with worry on their faces. Then they looked at their son. Lin Zhengren was natural and didn't seem to be worried about what was going to happen next. Not long after, He Qing, Han Wenwen, Zhang Zuli and Zhang Jingshi all sat together on the sofa in the living room. They looked embarrassed but firm. Lin Xiali poured a glass of water for everyone, and everyone said at the same time, thank you, and Lin Xiali laughed. You're welcome. She also sat on the sofa. Lin Zhengren ate the fruit on the table and handed a cherry tomato to each of the four people. All four took it. Lin Yingjin and Lin Xiali were ashamed. Lin Xiali, of course, you are really calm. It's obviously such a big deal. Lin Zhengren glanced at his mom and dad, then put another one in his mouth. Chapter 332 Together. Because you two reminded me to talk about this before, and this situation today is bound to happen sooner or later, so it's not too sudden for me. Lin Xiali sighed. Ranran is just Ranran. He doesn't think the same way as ordinary people. Lin Xiali was unusually serious, sitting up straight with a serious look in her eyes. So Ranran, are you really sure you want to date four girlfriends at the same time? Be with all of them at the same time? Dad Lin Yingjin didn't dare to speak in the back, because today's incident was really unexpected for him as a father. His son has four girlfriends, and his wife was shocked for half an hour just telling him about it. He had heard about this kind of thing before, but this was the first time he saw it in real life. The person involved is his own son. He dared not even think about it if it got out. Lin Zhengren knew that his mother was very serious today, so he answered seriously, yes, sure, Lin Xiaoli frowned and looked at the four people sitting next to her, Xiao Qingqing, Wenwen, Lily, and Xiao Jingxi. You four all know about this, right? And you all agreed? Are you willing to let Ranran be so fickle? The four girls blushed and nodded slowly without saying a word. Lin Yingjin was impressed by how charming his son was. Especially among them, Zhang Jingxi was the eldest daughter of the Zhang family, a goddess in the eyes of countless young people, but such a high-ranking eldest daughter actually allowed her son to do such a thing. Lin Xiaoli looked serious and turned back to look at her husband. Then she said again, Ranran, you are not a child anymore, and you know more about many things than your parents. Now you have made a career at a young age, but girls cannot be treated like this. You have to be sincere and loyal to your girlfriend, Lin Zhengren. Mom, I am sincere to them, and I have always treated them seriously since we confirmed the relationship. I am not a kind of person who is half-hearted, and I have no intention of abandoning them. The four girls nodded again. Lin Xiaoli was puzzled. You have dated four girlfriends, yet you can still say that you are not indecisive. And they nodded. She continued in surprise. Besides, a person can only like one person. It is engraved in human bones. Modern society does not allow this. Well, I know it's normal, but I may be abnormal in this aspect. It's true that I don't just like one person, and it's not illegal. You just can't get a marriage certificate, but you are still allowed to be together. Isn't it a big deal that we can't get a marriage certificate? She looked at the four girls again. It's okay for Ranran to have such a bad idea, but why do you four girls allow Ranran to do this? It doesn't matter. Isn't this cheating on feelings? You won't be able to get married in the future. Little He Qing looked up obediently and said, Auntie, Lin Zhengren has never cheated on us. He never lies to us. The three girls nodded. Han Wenwen also spoke, and we all agree that a marriage certificate is just a piece of paper. The relationship between people is not separated by a piece of paper, nor will they stay together because of a piece of paper, so it is not important. Brother Zhengren can still marry us without a marriage certificate. Lin Xiaoli was more and more puzzled. Wait, she waved her hands. Let's not talk about the marriage certificate first. Xiao Qingqing, what did you mean just now? Do you mean that Ranran said from the beginning when he started dating you that he wanted to date several people? He didn't lie to you. You mean he said it clearly from the beginning? Little He Qing said shyly. Well, he said it clearly. When we were about to be together, he asked me if I could have two relationships, because he also liked Lily, so he asked me if I could be with Lily. That's how he confessed to me, and then I agreed. I don't understand. Zhang Zuli clenched her hands proudly and also testified, He Qing didn't lie, that was indeed the case at the time. Zhengren asked me if he could have two relationships at the same time before we were together, and I agreed, so we were together. Lin Yingjin was dumbfounded, and asked on behalf of his wife, what about Wenwen? You too. Han Wenwen smiled, uncle and aunt. Actually when I was dating brother Zhengren, she was already with Xiao Qingqing and Lily, so I knew it early on. Zhang Jingxi took the initiative to speak. Zhang Zhang also asked me in person if he could date four people at the same time, and I agreed. Lin Xiaoli was speechless. Am I not getting old? Auntie doesn't understand what you girls are thinking. Since you all really like Zhang Zhang, you shouldn't allow him to like other girls. Don't you think so? Aren't rivals in love unable to live in peace? Han Wenwen bit her lip and smiled. Actually, uncle and aunt, at the beginning we did have the idea of monopolizing brother Zhengren, and we didn't agree right away, but we went through so many things in the middle, and it finally evolved into what it is now. Zhang Zuli clenched her fists. We didn't agree so easily on impulse. We also know this matter is very important, so we thought about it for a long time to come to this answer. Although the idiot Zhengren is very fickle, we are all willing to be his girlfriends at the same time. After that, she added in a low voice, as for whether we can live in peace or not, there will definitely be times of jealousy, but even if Lin Zhengren only has one girlfriend, there will be this situation, right? Lin Xiaoli suddenly stood up when she heard this, and spoke her thoughts in the adult world. Why are the four of you so stupid? Xiao Qingqing, Wenwen, Lily, Auntie has watched you grow up. And Xiao Jingxi, although we haven't known each other for long, Auntie likes you too. It is because Auntie likes you all that she really cares about your future. She covered her chest and said word by word, although as a mother I should not question Ranran. Do you really believe that Ranran can be responsible for you for a lifetime when you can't even get a marriage certificate? Do you really believe in Ranran unconditionally? The four girls looked at Aunt Lin who stood up, looked at each other, and then stood up together. He Qing, I believe in Lin Zhengren. I have believed in him since I was a child, Zhang Zuli said. I believe in Zhengren too. I think there is no one more reliable than him in this world. If Zhengren cannot be trusted, how can a marriage certificate be trusted? Han Wenwen, only Zhengren's brother Wenwen has never doubted him in this world, Zhang Jingshi. And, if we had doubts at the beginning, Zhang Zheng and I would not have been together until today, not only in our relationship, but also in Zhangxi Company. Any doubts would not be established. The determined eyes of the four people made Lin Zhili not know what to say for a while. Lin Zhengren also stood up and stood in front of them, like a backbone. Mom and Dad, I know that this matter is indeed difficult for you to accept all at once, but I have known the four of them for more than a day or two. Even Jingxi has known me for nearly 4 years. I believe that you should be able to see that if it was really wrong for the five of us to be together and we really doubted each other's feelings, we would have parted ways long ago, and we would not be standing together like today. Chapter 333 Victory. Lin Zili clenched her fist slightly, then Ranran's mother asks you. You said you want to be with them for the rest of your life? Do you mean that you will ask their parents for marriage when the time comes? You have to openly say that you want to marry their daughters, and marry 4 at a time. Lin Zhengren nodded. Yes, Lin Zili retorted. Ranran, as a parent, how could you agree to such a thing? I am also a mother, and I can still understand how it would feel if you had a daughter. This kind of thing won't work, Lin Zhengren casually said. I know there may be difficulties, but can't we just solve them if there are difficulties? He raised his hand. I can't just escape when I encounter difficulties. I have done this kind of thing, so I naturally have the awareness to solve this kind of thing. Mom and Dad, didn't you teach me to face difficulties when I was a child? And Mom, you said it's impossible. Don't you think all the things I have done so far are possible? Which one doesn't look impossible? Little He Qing also took a step closer, clearly and firmly clenched her 2 small fists in front of her chest and said, and I will also try my best to persuade my mother and grandmother to agree. And Lin Zhengren helped my mother and grandmother some time ago. I believe it will be possible by then. Zhang Zuli also stepped forward and stood beside Lin Zhengren, and said proudly and loudly, if it weren't for Zhengren, I wouldn't have the opportunity to go on stage in the past few years. My parents also know what position Zhengren holds in my heart. As long as you talk nicely, they will definitely agree. Han Wenwen also took a step closer, covering her face and smiling. Actually, I don't have this kind of trouble. After all, no one will care about such things for me. Anyway, no one will come to support me when I get married, so there is no problem. Zhang Jingshi, uncle and aunt, don't worry, since we have agreed to Zhang's proposal, we must have thought about the future. Lin Zili was forced to take a step back by the momentum of the crowd. After retreating twice, her aura seemed to be inferior to that of the other camp. Then even if your parents agree, you don't care about other people's opinions at all? As long as you are with Ranran, right? After the weak questioning, the 4 girls nodded firmly. Lin Zili's momentum dropped again, and she leaned on her husband. Lin Yingjin also stood up and supported his wife. She spoke much softer. What about the child? Without a marriage certificate, they can't be registered. Han Wenwen raised her hand. Auntie, I have to correct this. Recently, the fertility rate in China seems to be declining. We discussed this issue when we were traveling before. Brother Zhengren speculated that it will soon be possible to register children without getting married in China. Lin Zhengren nodded. I said that. I think Dad, as a civil servant, should have heard about this discussion. Dad Lin Yingjin grinned. Well, he did discuss this trend with his colleagues. In the future, there is a high probability that what Ranran said will happen. Lin Zili turned around and looked at her husband pitifully. Husband, please say something for me. Will such a measure really be taken? Lin Yingjin said awkwardly. Wife, I don't think we need to discuss this. It is true that such a situation may occur in the future. Ranran is right. Lin Zhengren sat back on the sofa and sighed. Mom, I know the reason why you say so much is that you think I may not be able to take care of all of them with so many girlfriends. You are afraid that I will hurt He Qing Wenli and Jingxi's hearts in the future. But I think you can actually think about it the other way around. If I really choose one of them now and give up the others, what will they think? They will definitely be disappointed in me. Of course, I will never do such a bastard thing. Lin Zili was puzzled. Why? Lin Zhengren took another cherry tomato and put it in his mouth. Jingxi said at this time, that's true. Although I don't want Zhang to talk so much in my heart, if Zhang suddenly wants to give up on someone, I will feel that this is not Zhang's style at all. Zhang is not the kind of person who will abandon the people around him. Han Wenwen also understood what Zhang Jingshi meant. The reason why everyone is willing to follow Brother Zhangren so wholeheartedly and is willing to let Brother Zhangren be unfaithful is because everyone knows that as long as they follow Brother Zhangren, they will never be abandoned by him. It is an absolute sense of security. Brother Zhang does this in reality, so let him be unfaithful. If Brother Zhangren is the kind of person who is indecisive and abandons girls at will, I don't think it can even be said to be disappointing. Maybe everyone would not like Brother Zhangren from the beginning. The little fox blushed and said, "At least what I love most is that Brother Zhangren will not abandon his girlfriend." Lin Zhangren looked up at his mother chewing cherry tomatoes. Well, that's basically it. In summary, I will definitely win this negotiation, because I will never abandon my girlfriend who likes me. This is a very bad thing. Since I won't do this, I will definitely not lose. Lin Yingjin really admired his son at this moment. Although what he did was outrageous, he was worthy of his own son. He dared to do it and was not afraid of danger. He has guts. He supported. Ranran, Dad really can't refute what you said. A qualified boy must never abandon his wife and daughter. That's a scumbag. You are so right. Dad supports it. Lin Zhangren smiled and gave his father a thumbs up. Seeing that the balance of victory had completely tilted to their side, Xiao Heqing added fuel to the fire. Aunt Lin, please agree that we girls can be with Lin Zhangren. Please, everyone wants to be happy, and no one wants to be abandoned. Everyone also said, yes, Auntie, please agree. This, Lin Xiaoli looked at these girls who she had watched grow up, and suddenly felt a little aggrieved. Why does it seem like Auntie is the bad person in the end? Auntie is not stopping you from being with Ranran. Auntie is just thinking about you girls. I really didn't expect that you would be so persistent, and think so far ahead. What can I do? She shrank in front of her husband and whispered, if that's the case, then do whatever you want. Auntie will support you. Don't look at me like that. I'm really not a bad person. The four girls were suddenly startled when they heard this, and looked at each other. They smiled happily. Zhang Zuli asked hurriedly, really, Auntie? You agree now? Lin Xiaoli nodded slowly. I agree. Auntie's idea is that as long as you can be happy, since you all have your own ideas and are unwavering, all Auntie can do is believe in you and believe that you will live a happy life. Lin Zhangren gave the four girls a look. The four girls quickly understood and ran to Lin Xiaoli and Lin Yingjin, saying happily, thank you, Uncle and Auntie. In this way, you two will have 4 daughters-in-law in the future. Don't worry, we will live happily together in the future. Auntie, you are so open-minded. You are worthy of being our future mother-in-law. Lin Xiaoli was also happy when she heard the words of praise from everyone, and sighed silently in her heart. As a mother who lets her son have 4 relationships at the same time, she is probably the only one in the world, but as an elder, what can she do in the face of what she just said? In any case, happiness is the most important thing, and everyone's life does not necessarily have to be similar. Lin Yingjin suggested, how about this, since the negotiation is over, Uncle and Aunt will cook a big meal for you, and everyone will have a family meal together tonight. The 4 girls responded together. Sitting on the sofa, Lin Zhangren took another cherry tomato and put it in his mouth. The cherry tomatoes his mother bought today were indeed delicious. Chapter 334 A Happy Family. The Lin family was busy in the afternoon. Lin Yingjin and Lin Xiaoli were in the kitchen preparing a big meal for their future daughters-in-law. The 3 children, 1 big child and Lin Zhangren also went to the kitchen to help. Zhang Jingshi and Xiao Heqing, who knew how to cook, helped with the cooking, while Han Wenwen and Zhang Zuli, who were not good at cooking, were responsible for picking vegetables and collecting ingredients. During the meal, Xiao He Qing was surprised to see Zhang Jingshi's skilled cooking skills. Sister Zhang, you cook so well? It's obvious that you cook often. Zhang Jingshi smiled while holding a spatula. Well, don't look at me like this. I am also very good at cooking. I'll let you taste my cooking skills later. Lin Xiaoli was also surprised when she smelled the fragrance of the food. Should a big boss like Xiao Jingshi usually have a dedicated chef? How come you have the opportunity to cook, Auntie? This is a personal hobby of mine. Sometimes I suddenly feel addicted and go to the private kitchen for a while, or every time Zhang comes to me, I will cook a meal for Zhang alone. He likes my cooking very much. Xiao He Qing thought to herself that Sister Zhang would cook for Lin Zhangren on a regular basis. She had never heard of it before. Lindsay, so that's how it is. This hobby is really special. While talking here, Zhang Zuli and Han Wenwen, who were picking vegetables on the side, did not stop. The former looked at the empty trash can and complained, Han Wenwen, why don't you break off the celery roots? The little fox was puzzled, why break it off? Can it be eaten? Although it's not delicious, can the celery roots be eaten? I break them off when I cook at home. There's a lot of dirt on them. The little fox saw that Zhang Zuli broke off the celery roots. That's such a waste. The dirt can be washed off, but I'm not very good at cooking, but I occasionally keep it when I feel like cooking. After all, it's quite expensive. Zhang Zuli was embarrassed. Are you so frugal in normal times? Obviously, I see you buy a lot of messy things. Han Wenwen smiled, save when you should and spend when you should. The women in the kitchen talked and laughed. Because they couldn't stand, Lin's Hengren and his father sat outside the kitchen and washed carrots and other vegetables. Lin Yingjin listened to the bustling kitchen and shook his head. Ranrun, Dad really didn't expect that there would be such a lively day in our family. With 4 daughters-in-law, Lin's Hengren was washing radishes and told the truth. Actually, I didn't expect it at the beginning. What I actually thought at the beginning was that if I can't meet the one I like in this life, I don't have to get married. Who knew I would meet so many? At the beginning, Lin's Hengren didn't even have such an idea about He Qing. It was only over time that he gradually came up with the idea of taking care of this girl for the rest of his life. Father Lin was speechless and whispered, I'm telling you, Ranrun, Dad won't cheat you. In fact, sometimes having too many women around you is not necessarily a good thing. It's also very annoying to coax them. Sometimes I have to spend a lot of time trying to coax your mother, husband. Lindsay, who was in the kitchen, felt murderous. Although she didn't hear what her husband said to her son, she felt that the sneaky look didn't seem to be a good thing. She looked at him with contempt. What are you talking to Ranrun about? Are you whispering? Lin Yingjin laughed and said, nothing, just a casual chat between father and son. After that, he glanced at his son. Your mother is sometimes very scary. Lin's Hengren also smiled, thinking that his silly and sweet mother was cute enough. In the evening, the family had dinner happily. As Lindsay said before, it should be difficult for girls to get along with their rivals. But perhaps it was because everyone had known each other for too long, and they didn't know how many meals they had eaten here. So when they got together, it was as harmonious as a family meal. And they all picked up dishes for Lin's Hengren. After dinner, the town still had shopping malls open at night. Lindsay went to the mall hand in hand with her 4 daughters-in-law to go shopping and exchange feelings. This time, Lin's Hengren and Lin Yingjin did not follow. The father and son watched TV at home, discussing how to sleep at night. Lin Yingjin said, Ranrun, although they are all your girlfriends, but, you understand what Dad means, right? Dad will sleep with you tonight. Let these women sleep together. Lin's Hengren did not refuse. After all, it was very open-minded for his parents to allow him to date 4 people. If they were together again tonight, it would really irritate his parents. So Lin's Hengren slept in the same room with his father that night. The girls and Lindsay squeezed into Lin's Hengren's bedroom to sleep after shopping. Tonight, Lin's Hengren lay on the bed very quietly and slept very comfortably. But he didn't need to guess to know that if the 4 guys and their mother got together, it would be estimated that this group of people would chat until 1 or 2 in the morning without stopping. The fact was just as Lin's Hengren expected. Lindsay talked to the 4 people about Lin's Hengren's childhood and even his infancy all night. She didn't know what time it was. Everyone was listening attentively. Even if Fox was so excited that he planned to record it. On Sunday morning, the family was also lively and everyone washed and brushed their teeth together. While eating breakfast, Lin's Hengren suddenly remembered that Han Wenwen wanted to see all the fun places in the city when she was in high school. But because she had a stomach ache that day, the 2 of them only visited an amusement park and didn't continue. After this incident, there was no chance again. So he suggested, Mom and Dad, He Qing Wen Lily, Jingxi, since there's nothing to do today on Sunday, let's go to the city to play as a family. The city? Dad was puzzled. Lin's Hengren nodded, although we are not far from the city, I and them almost didn't have time to play well before. Since there's nothing to do today, let's go together. I'll treat you. After saying that, Lin's Hengren suddenly glanced at the little fox. Listening to what Hengren said and looking into his eyes, little fox almost immediately remembered the promise Hengren made to take her around the city when they were in high school. She didn't expect Zhangren to still remember this, and her face suddenly flushed. She was moved. After Lin Zhangren's suggestion, everyone thought it was okay, and indeed they had never been around the city properly. So the family drove off for a one-day tour of the city. During the tour, Lin Zhangren and Lin Yingjin were in the back, while the women were in the front, looking around the whole time, and they were so happy. Most of the day passed in a daze. In the afternoon, everyone rested on the seats in a shopping mall. Lin Ziali said, "We had a lot of fun today. You guys are going to school tonight, right? You don't have to send us off later. Your uncle and I will take a ride home, and you guys can drive to school." Lin Zhangren turned around and said, "It won't take much time to send you off." Lin Ziali blushed and waved her hands for no apparent reason. "It's troublesome to go back and forth, and your dad and I want to go shopping somewhere else, so we're not in a hurry to go home." Lin Zhangren realized that his mother had bought a lot of new clothes and miscellaneous things today, and his father was dressed very formally. Judging from the situation, his parents probably wanted to spend time alone tonight, so he stopped trying to dissuade them. He smiled and said, "Okay, then Mom and Dad, you guys can take a taxi back later, and I'll wait with them to go to school." The four girls didn't quite understand why they didn't send their uncle and aunt off, but since Lin Zhangren had said so, they didn't interrupt. Lin Ziali smiled and looked at the beautiful daughters-in-law. "But, before we finish, Auntie would like to remind you that although your uncle and I agree with you, I know that if you really want to be together, there will be a big challenge in the future. Uncle and Auntie wish you all success." Of course, the four girls understood what the two men were talking about, and they nodded one by one with firm eyes. Chapter 335 sounds familiar. Waving goodbye to Lin Ziali and Lin Yingjin on the street, Lin Zhangren drove the four of them back to the university. When leaving the city, the girls in the car all breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Zhangren was puzzled. "What's wrong with you? You've had a lot of fun these 2 days, why are you sighing?" Zhang Zuli in the back seat covered her chest and replied, "I'm not sighing, it's just that this is the first time I discussed this with my elders. At the beginning, I always thought they would not agree, so I was very nervous. My heart has not stopped beating these 2 days," the others responded. Lin Zhangren thought to himself, "Has your heart ever stopped beating before?" Little He Qing nodded, "Me too. If Lin Zhangren hadn't acted fearless yesterday, I even feel that Aunt Lin would not have allowed us to be with Lin Zhangren." Lin Zhangren drove helplessly. "So, things that we agreed to last night, but you are only relaxing today," Han Wenwen said, "because Uncle and Aunt are around these 2 days, although we agreed yesterday, we can't chat about this kind of thing casually like we do now. We're always on edge." When Lin Zhangren heard this, he understood what was going on with him. It was probably similar to the way he would propose marriage in the future. "I can understand that, but no matter what, my parents have passed this test this time, and we can live together in the future." Everyone was happy, but Zhang Jingshi suddenly said, "Wait, Zhang, did you get your uncle and aunt to sign the day school application?" Lin Zhangren glanced at Zhang Jingshi. "You didn't give me the day school application, did you, Jingshi?" "I didn't give it to you." "Yes, because I called my mother that day and disagreed. The matter was shelved, and I didn't go to the office to get it from you." Zhang Jingshi blinked her peach blossom eyes and reacted, "It seems so. Then when I return to school tonight, I will go to the office to give you the day school application, and mail it back to my uncle and aunt. I just hope that my uncle and aunt don't change their minds." "That won't happen. Since my mother has agreed, there will be no change of mind." After driving for a long time to get to school, it was already very late. The three children returned to the dormitory and took all the large and small bags they bought in the past 2 days back to the dormitory to sort them out. Lin Zhangren followed Zhang Jingshi to the office and got the day school application. Many other teachers had already left work at this time. There was no one else in Zhang Jingshi's office, so Lin Zhangren simply made a phone call right there. He called his mother's cell phone. It buzzed for a while before it was connected. "Hello, Mom." "Hello, Ranran." His mother's voice became very gentle. The surroundings were not quiet at first, as if some movie was playing, and then it stopped. Lin Zhangren guessed that the two were probably in a couple's theater. He said, "Business, I will mail my day study application back home tomorrow. Remember to sign it for me. Our teacher will also call you to ask about it." Lin Ziali on the phone was inexplicably silent. Lin Zhangren asked, "What's wrong? Why don't you talk?" Lin Ziali covered her mouth and whispered, "Ranran, there is no one around you now, right?" Lin Zhengren glanced at Zhang Jingshi, who was pouring water for him. Only Jingshi is here. What's wrong? Her voice was rustling. Find a place where there is no one alone and Mom will talk to you about this. Someone inexplicably remembered what Jingshi said in the car in the afternoon. Mom won't change her mind, right? It shouldn't be that bad. Lin Zhengren first said, okay, then he said to Zhang Jingshi, Jingshi, cover your ears. Zhang Jingshi stood there, and Lin Zhengren pointed at the phone. She probably understood something, and this young lady covered her ears with her hands so obediently. Sitting next to Lin Zhengren, Lin Zhengren said to the phone again, okay, Mom, Jingshi can't hear it now. Lin Zhengren, Ranran, I heard everything you just said to Jingshi. Isn't it a bit perfunctory to cover your ears? How is it perfunctory? Jingshi is not the kind of person who eavesdrops. He turned to ask Zhang Jingshi. Right, Jingshi. Zhang Jingshi covered her ears and nodded. Lin Zhengren, Mom, you see, she can't hear at all. Lin Zhengren was helpless. How can I see it when she's on the phone? Okay, actually what Mom wants to say is that your dad and I agree that you can be with him, but Ranran, I have to remind you about living together. Lin Zhengren coughed and became serious. Ranran is so smart, you should understand what Mom means, right? Boys at this age are full of blood, and the four of them like you so much. Since you want to be responsible for them, you must be careful, understand? At least you can't be too messy before graduation. This is the bottom line. I understand, Mom. You still don't believe me? I have known them for so many years. I have a sense of propriety, and I know what to do and what not to do. Lin Zhengren felt the same, although she was not sure how far her son had developed with these girls. But there are some things that any young adult will do, and compared to other boys, Ranran has always been very mature. Okay, actually, Mom knows about this kind of thing. Even if we don't live together, boys without proper manners can still cause trouble. So Mom believes that you can take good care of the four of them. Send back the day school application tomorrow and Mom and Dad will sign it for you. Thanks, Mom. I won't disturb your world of two with Dad. Bye. After hanging up the phone, Lin Zhengren and Zhang Jingshi smiled knowingly. On the other side, Lin Zhengren was lying in her husband's arms on the bed with a quilt pulled up, blushing. Lin Yingjin was also exposed by his son and blushed. Hang up. Lin Zhengren put down the phone and leaned on her husband's arms. Who did you say that Ranran inherited this philandering problem from? He can actually date so many girlfriends at once, and he still talks openly. She looked at Lin Yingjin. Lin Yingjin was sweating profusely and immediately said, anyway, it's not like me. Lin Zhengren said angrily, then it's like me? Is that what you mean? She poked her husband's chest with her hand. Husband, tell me. Dear husband. Lin Yingjin sighed and held his wife's hand. Wife, I can only say that our son is not an ordinary person. Although I was a little surprised at first that this happened to Ranran. Think about it, my son has the talent of an emperor since he was born, and he cannot be compared with ordinary people. Humph, you are so pretentious all day long, but I am warning you. She pointed at her husband. Ranran is fickle because they all agree. If you learn from Ranran, I will take a carrot from the refrigerator, peel it into pieces and send you to become a monk tonight. Lin Yingjin was really scared and hugged his wife. Don't worry, wife, you are my first love. Why should I like others? I have no interest in any woman except you. Lin Zhengren smiled proudly. That's right. As she spoke, she sighed again. I hope Ranran's proposal will go smoothly in the future. It's not an easy thing. Ranran will find a way. I, as his father, believe in him very much. The next morning, Lin Zhengren received a call from the school teacher at work. Teacher? Hello, I am Lin Zhengren's mother. Zhang Jingshi tried to be serious because there were other colleagues around. Well, I'm calling you this time to ask about Lin Zhengren's arrangement for day school. Lin Zhengren felt inexplicably confused. This teacher's voice sounded so familiar. Chapter 336 Secret. Well, Ranran told me about the day study program. I also discussed it with his father and thought it was okay. He has already signed it. Zhang Jingshi sat in the office with a smile on her face. Okay, I understand that you two have agreed, so I will continue to handle the subsequent procedures for Lin Zhengren. No problem, teacher. Thank you for your hard work. Zhang Jingshi looked up at her colleague who was busy working opposite, covered her mouth and whispered, Auntie, this is not a big deal. I'll hang up first. Bye. The phone was hung up in confusion. After a long time, Lin Zhengren reacted on the other end. The tone of the last sentence This mature and pleasant voice, this is Xiao Jingshi. Ranran's head teacher is Xiao Jingshi. So on the same morning, Lin's Hengren also received a call from his mother. The other party was shocked, and shocked my mother for a whole year, of course. What's going on? How did Xiao Jingshi become your class teacher? Does that mean you are dating your class teacher now? Do young people nowadays play such exciting things? After receiving the call, Lin's Hengren had to explain briefly and reminded, by the way, Mom, Jingshi is just a counselor. There is no class teacher in college. Oh, that's it. Lin Xiaoli paused on the phone and retorted, what's the difference? Isn't it still a teacher-student relationship? Of course there is an essential difference, because Jingshi is a counselor, not a class teacher. He deliberately teased his mother. You said it once. And there is no difference at all. In short, the 4 little ones' day schooling procedures were successfully completed with bumps and bruises. The house rented by Jiang Jingshi has also been vacated. On Wednesday, everyone moved their things to their new home. Except for a certain fox. Because Han Wenwen said in the dormitory the day before yesterday, well, Xiao Qing and Lily, I was shopping with my aunt last week, and I didn't go back to the rental house in the small town to pack my things, so I have to go back to the rental house tomorrow to pack up. I will tell Sister Jiang about this later. Xiao He Qing asked, are you going to pack it up by yourself? Let us go together to help you. It will be fast with so many people, Jiang Zuli reminded. If there are a lot of things, it would be best to find a moving company. Han Wenwen grinned, as if she had her own ideas, and waved her hands in front of her. There is no need to find a moving company, and everyone doesn't need to go. I don't have so many things in the rental house. A big package can pack it. Brothers Hengren and I will pack it tomorrow. You don't have to worry about it. Xiao He Qing asked one more question. Do you really not need help? Anyway, we don't have anything else to do these days. Really? The little fox nodded. Lily suddenly stopped packing and turned to look at Han Wenwen with a vigilant look. Wait, did I hear something wrong just now? What do you mean you and brothers Hengren can just pack it up? Zhengren has to accompany you tomorrow, right? Han Wenwen still looked very natural. Yeah, it will take some effort for me to do it alone, but with brothers Hengren's help it's more than enough, Jiang Zuli complained. Stinky fox. Listen to what you just said. Don't you know that it's contradictory? You say you don't need it, but you say Zhengren is necessary. You just found a reason to spend a day alone with Zhengren, right? Han Wenwen's conspiracy was exposed a little bit, and she blinked her watery fox eyes. No way. I don't think so. Jiang Zuli blushed and shouted, nonsense. Your expression betrays you. Do you think I will believe you if you look at me? Wenwen little He Qing also reacted after hearing it and looked at her jealously. Han Wenwen saw Xiao Qing's jealous look and quickly hugged Xiao He Qing. Oh. Okay, let me explain to you too. Actually, I have some private matters tomorrow so brothers Hengren must be here. Xiao He Qing asked curiously, what private matters? Jiang Zuli rolled up a book in her hand and put it on Han Wenwen's neck. Tell everything. Han Wenwen smiled. It's about me applying for day school. Sister Jiang called my hometown, and my uncle and aunt asked me about it. I said that I was going to live away from home with my boyfriend, so my uncle and aunt said they wanted to come and see me. Jiang Zuli put down the book on her neck when she heard it. Your uncle is your guardian. To be honest, I have never met your uncle. Han Wenwen took Xiao He Qing's arm and smiled. After all, since I became independent in junior high school, they have been very busy. There were a few times when they asked me to go back for the new year, but I didn't really want to go back, so the number of times we meet has become less, but we still call each other occasionally. Jiang Zuli also knew that Han Wenwen's family situation was rather special, so she said seriously, if that's the case, then it is indeed a special case. Han Wenwen stretched out a finger and squinted her eyes. Of course, I do want to spend a day alone with brothers Hengren, and I can't deny it completely. Jiang Zuli smacked her lips. You stinky fox. Little He Qing, who was standing by, looked at Han Wenwen's expression and inexplicably discovered some clues. She always felt that Wenwen didn't seem so happy today. Jiang Zuli crossed her arms and said, anyway, if that's the case, then we can let Zhengren accompany you alone for a day, but you two have to come back at night. Don't spend the night outside. I see, it's just a move and you're back in a day. Since Xiao Qing and Lily agree, I'll tell brothers Hengren. Xiao He Qing asked in a low voice, Wenwen, is there anything else? Han Wenwen was puzzled. Other things? No, just these things. Well, okay, Han Wenwen said happily, then I'll go make a call. After that, She took her mobile phone and walked out of the dormitory happily to call Lin Zhengren. Jiang Zuli was puzzled in the dormitory. Why do you have to run out to make a call? Xiao Heqing looked at Han Wenwen's back meaningfully. After leaving the dormitory, the originally happy Han Wenwen suddenly looked a little sad. She opened her mobile phone and looked at the photo her uncle sent her. In the photo, a thin-faced woman was lying on a hospital bed, dying. Her originally beautiful face was no longer recognizable under the torture of illness. There was no one around. Han Wenwen bit her teeth slowly, her eyes full of resentment and pity. Her uncle's words followed, "Wenwen, we found your mother. The hospital called me some time ago and told me about your mother. She is in very bad condition now. The hospital said she won't live long. When I went to find her, her sister said she wanted to see you for the last time." Han Wenwen replied, "I won't see her. Whether she is dead or alive has nothing to do with me." On Wednesday, at the gate of Peking University and Tsinghua University, Lin Zhengren walked out of the dormitory and came to the school gate, but found that Han Wenwen had already arrived, squatting on the ground and staring at the bushes in a daze. It was rare for her to come so early. Usually, even if she came early, she would hide somewhere until she appeared, and then suddenly jump out and hug him. Chapter 337 Feelings. Han Wenwen, still like a reincarnated fox spirit, quietly stared at the grass in the flower bed, at the insects lying on the grass, and crawling slowly on the grass leaves. However, her 9 invisible tails were shaking a little slower today. Lin Zhengren looked at the vixen for a while before slowly walking over. Wenwen, the little fox, heard the voice, turned around and saw the person coming and jumped up happily. "Brother Zhengren is here." Lin Zhengren smiled and said, "Well, I will accompany you back to the rental house in the town to pack up today, but you came here early. You came here early to wait for Brother Zhengren." Han Wenwen walked to his side and took his arm. "Brother Zhengren is still very handsome today. Let's take a car back. Don't worry. Have breakfast before leaving." "What do you want to eat this morning?" "You still have to have breakfast. Let me think. How about fried chicken?" "Eat fried chicken so early in the morning?" Han Wenwen leaned on Lin Zhengren's shoulder and said coquettishly, "What's wrong with the morning? I just want to eat. Let's go." Arriving at a nearby breakfast shop, Lin Zhengren and Han Wenwen each ordered a breakfast. Lin Zhengren had a bowl of millet porridge and 2 big buns. Han Wenwen had fried chicken legs and rice porridge. The total amount seemed to be larger than Lin Zhengren's, and the amount of food was about the same as that of little He Qing. Both of them are foodies, otherwise one of them would have such a curvy figure and the other would have such a curvy figure. Some areas have sufficient food and grass. Han Wenwen sat next to Lin Zhengren, gnawing on a fried chicken leg. Her expression was happy. Lin Zhengren took a second look at the little fox while drinking his soup. Han Wenwen noticed the curious look and deliberately asked, "What's wrong, Brother Zhengren? Why are you peeking at me? You are right next to me, so would I consider it peeking? At most, it's a blatant look." Han Wenwen leaned on Lin Zhengren's shoulder again, holding his arm, causing a burst of fragrance. But she put down the chicken leg that tasted a little bland, took a big mouthful of rice porridge and chewed it in her mouth. The whole person looked no different from usual, but Lin Zhengren knew this fox too well, and she had already shown him everything completely. A single man and a single woman. When had Han Wenwen eaten so honestly when she was alone? "What happened?" Lin Zhengren asked. Han Wenwen's beautiful fox eyes looked at Lin Zhengren seductively and swallowed a mouthful of millet porridge. "What's wrong?" "Nothing happened." "Nothing happened." Han Wenwen handed the remaining half bowl of millet porridge to Lin Zhengren, saying meaningfully, "I can't drink it anymore. You can help me drink the rest, Brother Zhengren." Lin Zhengren took the half bowl of millet porridge. The edge of the bowl was sticky with Han Wenwen's lipstick. It was obvious that this fox had deliberately applied a little on her lips before leaving the dormitory in the morning, deliberately. Lin Zhengren took advantage of the situation and pushed the millet porridge in front of him to Han Wenwen. "I've never seen you eat so little before, so you drink my half bowl and I'll drink your half bowl." Han Wenwen looked at the small bowl in front of her and smiled from the bottom of her heart. Brother Zhengren drank the rest. Then Wenwen still has a little appetite. The two of them seemed to be drinking a cup of wine, holding each other's breakfast porridge to taste. Lin Zhengren also deliberately did not avoid the lipstick position, and drank the remaining millet porridge from the lipstick. The original rice porridge plus the slightly sweet taste from the lipstick mixed together actually had a very special fragrance. After Lin Zhengren finished drinking, he said, "You are alone with me today, what else can you say? Do you have any secrets with me?" Han Wenwen was stunned holding Lin Sehengren's millet porridge. Her eyes under her long eyelashes changed slightly, and the strength of holding his arm tightened a little. Slowly drank the millet porridge, and then tiredly pressed against his body. Chewing the rice porridge, looking into the distance, she suddenly smiled hard. Wenwen has no secrets from Brother Zhengren at most. I'm keeping it a secret. I have to say that Brother Zhengren is Brother Zhengren. I originally planned to tell you after returning to the town, thinking like this maybe after secretly being intimate with Brother Zhengren for a while, I will forget about it. But now it is obviously impossible. She changed her words and her tone. I really don't understand why there are people in the world who are hesitant and hate others. Since you have done it, don't regret it. You have already abandoned it. Can't we just never contact each other again? No one should interfere with each other's future lives in this life. Everyone is living happily. Why does she want to see me at this time? What's the use except making me unhappy? When Lin Sehengren heard this, he probably guessed the answer. There's only one person who can make Han Wenwen so emotional. Is it about your mother? Han Wenwen leaned on Lin Sehengren's shoulder and nodded. That woman seems to have some terminal illness. I am too lazy to ask. She looks like she is dying. She disappeared for so many years and now suddenly found my uncle and said she wants to see me. I really don't know what she thinks. She is completely crazy. She took out her mobile phone from her pocket and handed it to Lin Sehengren. After Lin Sehengren took the phone, he entered his birthday on it and the screen unlocked. Clicking on WeChat, Lin Sehengren saw the pictures sent to her by Han Wenwen's uncle and the chat between the two. He completely understood the whole story. From the chat records, Lin Sehengren could feel Han Wenwen's suppressed anger towards her biological mother. So that's the case. So Wenwen's answer is that she won't see her. Yeah, Han Wenwen looked at Lin Sehengren in confusion. Does Brother Zhengren want me to see her? To see this cruel woman? Lin Sehengren looked at Han Wenwen's eyes now, returned the phone to her, touched her head and smiled. I won't interfere with Wenwen's choice. Since you don't want to see her, then let's not see her. Just pretend that this thing didn't happen. Just do what you should do and don't care about her. Han Wenwen also smiled. That's right. Why should she see me if she wants to see me, and abandon me if she wants to abandon me? Am I such a person without dignity? I'm not a toy. I also have feelings. After saying that, Han Wenwen suddenly realized that she was a little angry. Some people around were looking here, and she shouldn't be like this in front of Brother Zhengren. She tried to adjust her emotions and picked up the remaining chicken legs on the table and gnawed them. But the fried chicken that used to be fragrant tasted less delicious today. After eating half of it, she really couldn't eat any more. She asked Lin Sehengren for help again, grinning. Brother Zhengren, are you full? If not, there is still 1/3 of this chicken leg left. I'll give it to you. After breakfast, Lin Sehengren and Han Wenwen took a taxi back to the town. During the ride, the little fox leaned on Lin Sehengren's shoulder, looking at the scenery outside the window without saying a word. Lin Sehengren said, when I went out this morning, He Qing called me and said that you might not be in a good mood yesterday. She asked me if there was anything wrong and she was a little worried about you. I just finished eating and replied to her that you were fine. Han Wenwen smiled unexpectedly. He Qing actually saw it? I thought I had tried my best not to reveal my emotions. After all, except for Brother Zhengren, I don't like to let others know these things. Lin Sehengren continued to touch her long hair. She held her arm with one hand, and interlocked her fingers with Lin Sehengren with the other hand, staring out the car window absent-mindedly. Brother Zhengren, why are there things that make people hate in the world? Because everyone hates different things, and this situation only occurs when they are intertwined. So the way to make yourself happy is to stop staring at the things you hate, and pay more attention to the things you like to be happy. Isn't it easy to understand? Han Wenwen looked up at Lin Sehengren in a daze, chuckled, covered her mouth and smiled. Brother Zhengren can always solve Wenwen's confusion in one go. She kissed her beloved on the face and said shyly, I like you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338, Voyage. Back to the rental house in the small town. This small rental house of dozens of square meters has been the place where Han Wenwen has lived for more than 6 years. It is exactly the same as the total time she fell in love with Lin Sehengren. Thinking that she will soon quit the lease and leave forever, Han Wenwen suddenly missed him. Lin Zhengren sat on her single bed as usual and looked around the room. This place is small, but the location and scenery are actually pretty good. It was Brother Zhengren who took me to rent it, so of course it's good. Han Wenwen took out a box from under the bed barefoot, stepped on the blanket and searched for things to take away. Brother Zhengren, when we move to the new house, can I also put a blanket on the floor of the bedroom? It feels much more comfortable to be barefoot in the bedroom than wearing slippers. Sure, that's the bedroom for all of us. You can decorate it as you like. Han Wenwen smiled and suddenly found a few pairs of Lin Zhengren's socks and underwear from the box. These were what Lin Zhengren had changed here before, and a certain fox was happy to wash Lin Zhengren's underwear. According to her, the things that Brother Zhengren wore smelled good, and they always gave her a very intimate feeling after washing. So every time Lin Zhengren came here, Han Wenwen would keep Lin Zhengren's socks and give him a new pair. As for this pair of underwear, it was not old, but bought from the store before. Han Wenwen originally thought that as long as Brother Zhengren stayed overnight here, she would give him a new pair to wear, but who knew that after returning from the high school trip, Lin Zhengren never stayed here at night. Han Wenwen looked at the brand new fabric with regret. This pair of underwear is new, and Brother Zhengren has never worn it. Lin Zhengren looked at the underwear. Take it to the new home and wear it again when you have a chance. Han Wenwen looked at Lin Zhengren unwillingly, and asked inexplicably, why don't you try it now? I bought it specially before. A long time ago, I said that I would make a place in my room specifically for Brother Zhengren's clothes. In the end, I didn't put it there. These pairs of underwear, socks and so on can be regarded as substitutes. Lin Zhengren saw that she was supporting the men's underwear with both hands and resisted. How can I try it now? I have to mess with all the clothes I'm wearing just to try it. Oh, I don't have anything to do today anyway. No. Han Wenwen pouted and stood up coquettishly, pressing Lin Zhengren on the bed. Try it? Why doesn't Brother Zhengren want it? It's really expensive. It will be a waste if you don't wear it. Lin Zhengren lay on the pillow looking at the little fox who had his own ideas on his body, her hands on her chest. Lin Zhengren was helpless. I didn't say I won't wear it, I just said I won't wear it here. And do you really want me to try this? Aren't you going to clean up the room today? Han Wenwen bit her lips shyly. Her fox eyes were charming and attractive. She rubbed the fingers of the hand holding the underwear on Lin Zhengren's lips, and chuckled. What do you mean you won't clean up the room? It doesn't have to be intimate for a whole day, even a morning is fine, and then clean up in the afternoon. Otherwise, if you really clean up the room when you have such a good opportunity to be alone, then Wenwen has a problem with her brain. She was about to kiss Lin Zhengren on the lips, but Han Wenwen's phone suddenly rang a few times. The little fox's face was visibly frozen, her eyes were scared, and her fingers were slightly clenched. Lin Zhengren turned around and picked up her phone from the bed to check. Han Wenwen didn't say anything or do anything else. It turned out that it was not as she feared, it was sent by her uncle. It was a voice message from Zhang Zuli. Han Wenwen, although I know you are in a special situation today, you'd better be more self-conscious. Don't touch Zhengren during the move. You, a fox, have been looking at Zhengren with a look of rubbing eyes recently. Don't think I can't see it. Han Wenwen, who had stopped there, suddenly smiled with relief. Lily is too wary of me, although she's not wrong. There was a second voice message, and Zhang Zuli's arrogant voice was much gentler. Also, do you have anything going on recently? When you told me about the move in the dormitory yesterday, I felt that you seemed to be a little strange, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Anyway, if you have any trouble, you can tell us sisters at any time, or you can just tell Zhengren if you don't want to. Anyway, we are all sisters, and we will help each other if there is anything. Remember to reply to me when you see the message. Of course, it is also possible that I feel it wrong. After the voice message was played, Han Wenwen pursed her lips, and Lin Zhengren asked her, reply 1. Han Wenwen nodded. Lin Zhengren pressed the recording button and put it to Han Wenwen's lips. Han Wenwen tried to pretend to be normal and replied that she was fine. She also teased Lily. However, Lin Zhengren looked at Han Wenwen, whose eyes were not as energetic as usual. He sat up again and hugged Han Wenwen, who was staring at him in a daze. Wenwen, since you are not in a good mood today, forget it, Han Wenwen explained. I am not in a bad mood, She hugged Lin Zhengren halfway through, knowing that it was useless to lie in front of Brother Zhengren. I'm sorry, Brother Zhengren, I was distracted by thinking about other things when I was with you, wasting such a good time. Lin Zhengren hugged her tightly in his arms. Don't think so much, let's clean up the room first. Well, Then hold me for a few minutes, and we will clean up later." After the hug, the two of them packed up the big and small things in the room and put them in the box. They were busy until noon, and Han Wenwen was so tired that she fell asleep sitting on the bed. Obviously, this fox didn't rest well last night because of his worries. After Lin Zhengren packed the last box, he turned around and looked at Han Wenwen, who had fallen asleep. He carefully laid her flat on the bed. In her sleep, 2 lines of tears flowed from the corners of Han Wenwen's eyes, and her expression was filled with faint resentment and unwillingness. Over the past so many years, Han Wenwen thought that she no longer cared about her mother who had abandoned her, and whether she was dead or alive had nothing to do with her. Although she still felt a little resentful every time she thought of her childhood, she had already welcomed a new life. But when she saw the photos sent by her uncle with her own eyes, Han Wenwen realized that this matter was still buried in her heart, and she still hated this cruel woman in her heart. She felt that she deserved it. But she felt sorry for her because of the good years she had treated her in her memory. She wanted to know some answers from her. Not long after she slept, Han Wenwen suddenly woke up from her dream, and saw Lin Zhengren sitting beside her and guarding her with red eyes. She cried and threw herself into Lin Zhengren's arms. "Brother Zhengren, what should I do? I obviously don't want to see her, but why?" Lin Zhengren comforted Han Wenwen in his arms. Han Wenwen, who always dared to love and hate, always had moments of confusion. "I know you still want to see her, but you don't want to forgive her. But meeting doesn't necessarily mean forgiveness. Don't be afraid, I will be with you. After this, you won't feel uncomfortable when you dream about the past and the future. I am here for everything." Han Wenwen bit her lip and hugged Lin Zhengren tightly, her eyes wet. That day, Lin Zhengren took Han Wenwen's hand and asked for leave from school on the phone, and got on the bus to the south. Chapter 339 Different Paths. In the afternoon, in the lobby of a 3-story villa, Zheng Jingxi was putting the things she brought with her in the large study on the first floor. After receiving Lin Zhengren's call, she responded, "Okay, I understand, Zheng. Okay, then you and Wenwen don't have to go back to school these 2 days, just come back to sign the leave slip." She blushed and smiled. "Why are you so polite to me? But Wenwen, is she okay?" "What exactly?" "Well, okay, then I'll tell you when I come back. You two should be careful." After Zhang Jingxi hung up the phone, Zhang Zuli, who came in with a box, also put some things in the study. Little He Qing followed closely behind, also carrying large and small bags in her hands, and the 3 of them each did their job. Zhang Jingxi turned around and looked at the 2 of them. "Lily He Qing, Zhang said that he and Wenwen will not come to school these 2 days. Wenwen's family had something wrong and they went back to the south." Zhang Zuli and He Qing paused. Although they had a premonition, they were still a little surprised. "Back to the south?" He Qing asked hurriedly. "What did Lin Zhengren say? Is it serious? What can we do?" Zhang Jingxi had experienced more things after all, and could analyze something from Lin Zhengren's tone. Zhang didn't say in detail what happened, but only said that Wenwen's family was seriously ill. I guess there must be some other reason why he didn't say it clearly. Let's wait, otherwise asking in detail may just cause trouble and trouble them. Zhang Zuli nodded. "It's okay with Zhengren here, he can do anything." Although she said so, her expression was obviously still a little worried. Zhang Jingxi smiled and confirmed Zhang Zuli's words. "I also think it will be okay with Zhang accompanying Wenwen," the 2 responded. The high-speed train sped across the city border. Lin Zhengren held Han Wenwen's hand in the car, and she was actually shaking with fear. Her palms were sweating and she was shivering. She half lowered her head and thought about something. Lin Zhengren asked, "How much do you remember about your mother?" Han Wenwen shuddered and came back to her senses, leaning on Lin Zhengren's shoulder. "Not much, I just remember that when I was a child, my mother was always busy and could not stay with me for a long time every day. Later, she left without saying a word, went out to buy things and lied to me that she would be back at night, and then I never saw her again." Han Wenwen pleaded, "Brother Zhengren, don't let go of my hand, I'm scared." "Yeah." She held Han Wenwen's snow-white and tender palm tightly. "I'm here." They arrived in the south smoothly at night. After getting off the high-speed rail, Han Wenwen took out her mobile phone and called her uncle. When the uncle in the hospital found out that it was Han Wenwen's call, he quickly answered it. Because Han Wenwen's temperament has been a bit stubborn since she was a child. There's basically no time to change back to things that have been determined, and what happened that year really hurt Wenwen too deeply. He couldn't persuade her, so since Han Wenwen didn't answer the first call, The uncle could only say a few simple words on what to respect her thoughts. But he was caught between the two sides and still hoped that Wenwen would come to see her sister for the last time. "Hello Wenwen? Why are you calling?" The uncle's voice was a little excited. Han Wenwen hesitated and said, "I have taken a bus back to the south. Send me the ward number so I can go see her." The uncle nodded without saying a word. "You are back to the south. Okay, I know. I will send it to you now. Go slowly on your way." Han Wenwen hung up the phone and looked at the address on the phone. The two bought some gifts and took a bus to the People's Hospital. When they arrived at the door of the hospital ward, only the uncle and aunt were there, and it seemed that they had been waiting at the door for a long time. "Wenwen, you're back," the uncle, who was pacing back and forth, asked immediately when he saw someone. He also found Lin Zhengren holding Han Wenwen's hand. "Is this Lin Zhengren?" Han Wenwen smiled at her uncle and aunt. "Uncle and aunt, long time no see. This is my boyfriend. I have told you many times before," Lin Zhengren greeted. "Hello, uncle and aunt. My name is Lin Zhengren." Lin Zhengren's temperament is quite unusual. When the uncle and aunt saw him, they also nodded. "Hello," the aunt said to Han Wenwen. "Your mother is in the ward. Your uncle and I will not go in. You two go in and take a look. She will be very happy when she hears that you are coming." Han Wenwen's face did not fluctuate much. She just glanced at the ward from a distance. "I know." Walking to the door of the ward, Han Wenwen kept taking deep breaths. Lin Zhengren held her hand tightly again to encourage her. She had the courage to push open the door of the ward. Looking up, a thin and haggard figure wearing a hospital gown, but who could be seen to be extremely beautiful and slender when young, was lying on the hospital bed. The woman had a melon-seed face similar to Han Wenwen's. If she was a few decades younger, she would definitely have a pair of extremely charming fox eyes. However, she looked older due to her age and could not be compared with a young Han Wenwen. Han Wenwen looked at the familiar yet unfamiliar figure with trembling eyes. The woman on the bed also turned her head when she heard the voice. When she found the girl standing at the door, her weak eyes widened and she did not dare to believe. "It's Wenwen." Han Wenwen gritted her teeth and walked over slowly with Lin Zhengren. Lin Zhengren greeted first. "Hello, auntie. My name is Lin Zhengren, and I am Han Wenwen's boyfriend." The woman stared at the handsome Lin Zhengren and sighed. "What a charming boy." "Hello." Han Wenwen looked at the woman she had not seen for more than 10 years. She was nervous and anxious on the road, and she felt a complex mood mixed with various emotions. When she stood at the scene at this moment, she felt that it was funny and normal. Because the woman in front of her was completely different from what she remembered. She was not as beautiful, young, and unattainable as she remembered. "You look completely different from what I remember, like two different people." The woman stared at Han Wenwen's incredibly beautiful face, trembling, and was shocked. "You too. I didn't expect you to be so beautiful now, much more beautiful than when I was young." She suddenly laughed. "It's completely different from what I imagined. I thought I wouldn't be able to see what you look like when you grow up, but I didn't expect you to be willing to come and see me for the last time." She clenched her fists. "I didn't plan to come, but Brother Zhengren said that coming here doesn't necessarily mean forgiveness. So I came here to see what you look like now." "Really?" The woman kept staring at Han Wenwen's face, unable to express her inner emotions. "Brother Zhengren, what a close name." "Thank you." Her last sentence was said to Lin Zhengren. Lin Zhengren just smiled. "Han Wenwen, what did the doctor say? How many days can you live?" "Not necessarily. You may have to endure for a few more days, about a month." "That's quite long." "A month is exactly 30 days, it's very long. I remember the night when I was a child waiting for you to come back, it didn't even last." "It was only one night." The woman looked at her daughter's disgusted yet complicated eyes, her lips trembling. "I'm sorry, Wenwen, I don't mean for you to forgive me, I just want to say sorry to you." Han Wenwen's eyes suddenly became moist, and she said in a trembling voice, "How dare you say this to me? Don't tell me you have any difficulties. Why do you say sorry after abandoning me? People must always be responsible for what they have done." The woman laughed at herself. "You're right, I also hope that I have some difficulties, but I really haven't done anything decent in my life. Maybe the most human thing I have done is to give birth to you and raise you well for a few years." "Why?" Han Wenwen asked softly. "Although so many years have passed, I still want to ask, why? Why did you abandon me back then?" The woman also had tears in her eyes. "At that time, I felt that I should have a better life. A young and beautiful person like me should not be dragged down by a child for my whole life, so I left." Han Wenwen looked at her mother, who spoke the truth, and laughed. I guess so. It's such a simple reason. Thank you for telling me the truth. It's just that you didn't get the life you wanted. The woman sighed. You will get old anyway. A woman's face can't be used as a meal for a lifetime. You can't win the hearts of those men just by relying on your face. They all leave when something happens. I obviously didn't plan to let them spend money on my treatment, but they just looked at me and were afraid that I would infect them. Looking back on all these years, it seems that the only one who really sticks to me and loves me from the bottom of your heart is you when I was a child. This is why I want to see you. Children are really too innocent, so I miss you so much. Han Wenwen frowned slightly. The woman looked at Han Wenwen worriedly. Wenwen, how are you doing now? Are you living on your own? Or, don't worry, I won't follow your old path. I am living on my own. Although Brother Zhengren is very powerful and has helped me a lot, Brother Zhengren often said that people should have things they like and things they want to do. So I became a game video blogger based on my expertise and what I like. Now I have 1 million fans. I used to have more than 1.6 million, but I lost some because of laziness in the college entrance examination. But I will do it again in the future. Before I met Brother Zhengren, I also did a lot of part-time jobs online. Of course, it may be a bit unprofessional in the eyes of adults, but I never thought about harming my body from beginning to end. She took out a video account and showed it to the woman. The woman looked at the video on it and her worried brows relaxed. That's great, then I'm relieved. She suddenly shed tears. It's really great that you didn't do the same thing as me. Chapter 340 Fried Chicken. Han Wenwen stared at the woman with a meaningful look. Maybe her emotions were not as extreme as when she first came. Lin Zhengren and Han Wenwen sat on the empty bed next to her, and the mother and daughter chatted briefly about some things. After talking about each other's experiences over the years, they roughly understood some things. The woman lay flat on the bed. I heard from your uncle that you have been admitted to Tsinghua University and Peking University? That's really amazing, one of the best universities in China. Han Wenwen smiled. Actually, I'm not that good at studying. She glanced at Lin Zhengren and held his hand. I'm just lucky. Looking at the time, it was already quite late. Han Wenwen said, okay, I've finished reading, so I won't disturb you to rest. Brother Zhengren and I should leave. I hope you won't be so selfish in your next life and learn a lesson. The woman smiled self-deprecatingly again. Thank you, it's a good thing to be taught by your own daughter. I will definitely remember it. After saying that, she suddenly coughed several times in succession. Lin Zhengren, who had been silent, asked a question at this time. Auntie, do you have any unfulfilled wishes? The woman looked at Lin Zhengren and immediately shook her head. She originally wanted to say that she had no more wishes, and she was satisfied to see Han Wenwen for the last time. But looking into Lin Zhengren's eyes, perhaps it was the strong sense of déjà vu brought to her by the end of her life. Perhaps it was the woman's experience of meeting so many men over the years. When she looked at each other, she suddenly felt that this boy was not like an ordinary person. Even better than those unattainable people she had tried to meet before. For a moment, her pupils flickered, and suddenly she glanced at Han Wenwen again. There is one more. That is, Lin Zhengren seemed to understand what the wish was from the look in her eyes when she looked at Han Wenwen. Han Wenwen looked at her slightly moved expression. The clever little fox seemed to realize something. Before leaving, Han Wenwen clenched her fingers. She still satisfied the woman's wish because of the short period of happiness in her childhood, and gently called her, Mom, I wish you happiness in your next life. The woman's beautiful but tired pupils dilated, tears welled up in her eyes, and she closed her eyes with her wish fulfilled. Thank you, Wenwen. When Lin Zhengren and Han Wenwen stood up, he secretly sprinkled something from his hand into the water the woman drank. It was a medicine residue filled with a little bit of spiritual energy. Although it had no special effect, it could reduce the pain of the woman when she left the world by half. Maybe there was really no regret. The woman passed away peacefully in just a few days. A week later, Han Wenwen and Lin Zhengren took flowers and placed them on the woman's tombstone. Han Wenwen's uncle and aunt were also watching. Putting down the flowers, Han Wenwen stared at the photo on the tombstone, smiling with red eyes. For my mother, it is a good ending. Lin Zhengren touched the little fox's head as a comfort. She turned to her aunt and uncle and said, Uncle and aunt, my brother Zhengren and I are going back to the north today. Uncle nodded. You are living with Lin Zhengren now, right? Han Wenwen nodded. Yes, we will live together soon. We will probably get married after graduating from college. Right, brothers Hengren, Linz Hengren replied. Yes, I will invite uncle and aunt to come over then. The two of them always agreed on Han Wenwen's affairs. Now Han Wenwen has no one to help her, so her uncle and his family know that they have no right to interfere with what she wants to do. But the uncle finally said, I hope you can be better to Wenwen. Don't worry, uncle. Then we're leaving, waved goodbye, but just as the two turned to leave, suddenly, three figures came over from a distance. Han Wenwen looked and found that it was He Qing, Lily and Zhang Jingxi. She was pleasantly surprised. Xiao Qingqing, Lily and sister Zhang, why are you here too? The three of them came over, and Xiao Heqing said in a cute and caring voice, we heard you say on the phone that your mother passed away, and we were all worried that you wouldn't be able to bear it, so we wanted to come and see you. Zhang Zuli also said proudly, you and Hengren haven't been back for so long. Although we were not allowed to come, we really couldn't stay in the north, so we came to see you. Zhang Jingxi looked at Han Wenwen, whose eyes were a little red, and said gently and caringly, Wenwen, are you okay? Han Wenwen raised the corners of her mouth, holding Lin Hengren's arm and smiling, as if she had completely returned to her usual self. Of course, I'm not as fragile as you think. Besides, my mother didn't feel any pain when she passed away, and everything was fine. The three girls looked at each other, and they didn't quite understand this tangled feeling towards their mother. After all, there are still a few people with such a life experience. Linz Hengren, as the head of the family, said, okay, although you three just came, we have to go back immediately. Let's find a place to eat and take a bus back to the north. There are still some things to do next. It's quite busy this year. Everyone looked at each other and smiled. Later, He Qing, Zhang Zuli and Zhang Jingxi also put the flowers they brought on the aunt's tombstone. The five people left together. The uncle and aunt standing there never moved. Only after everyone left did the aunt sigh with emotion, Wenwen has so many friends now. Compared with when I first met her, she is like a different person. The uncle looked at Han Wenwen who disappeared in the distance. After all, she has her own life. The high-speed train back to the north sped on the track. Han Wenwen still held Lin Hengren's hand and fell asleep again on his shoulder. I don't know how many times she has dreamed. In the dream, little Han Wenwen stood at that familiar and terrifying intersection, still waiting for her mother to come back in the dark. But since a long time ago, she is no longer alone. Instead, she was always accompanied by Xiao Hengren. Xiao Hengren said, it's finally over. Little Han Wenwen didn't understand. What's over? Xiao Hengren asked her to look into the distance, and this time she actually saw her mother's figure in the distance, standing up. But her mother didn't come over, but waved to Han Wenwen from a distance. Wenwen, Mom is leaving, goodbye. The figure completely disappeared in the distance, and that road and the surrounding roads also became bright. Mom, goodbye, Xiao Hengren said. You finally waited for her to say goodbye to you, so let's leave here too. Little Han Wenwen looked at Xiao Hengren eagerly. Leave? Where to go? Xiao Hengren took Han Wenwen's hand and walked towards the light. Just follow me. Although I am here to accompany you, you won't be afraid, but we can't stay here forever without seeing the light. There are still many new things to do. Little Han Wenwen was held by his hand, followed Lin Hengren's footsteps, and gently looked back at the intersection that was once dark but now bright. With a smile on her face, she suddenly said to Xiao Hengren, Brothers Hengren, I want to eat fried chicken. Why eat fried chicken so early in the morning? But I'll bite for you. They walked towards the light together. Chapter 341 Level 79. A few days ago, you finally came to the most powerful and widest area of this spiritual continent, which is a place that only the truly strong can covet. This place is called the Boundless Divine Territory, and it is often only the best from various countries, territories, sects and gangs that can arrive. It is said that there are the most powerful treasures in the world. This time you went to the Boundless Divine Territory, you still brought Xiangzi, Miss Zhang, and the demon cult witch with you, but when you arrived at the Boundless Divine Territory, you unexpectedly ran into the eldest princess of the Imperial City and the killer Feng Meng. Unexpectedly, the two of them were there too, and forced to go with you. When you entered the gate of the Boundless Divine Territory, a goddess came down from the sky. This goddess is actually the incarnation of the rules of the Divine Territory. It turns out that every team that comes here will have a goddess leading them in. The goddess said that she is not responsible for the life and death, battles, and opportunities between teams. She is just a part of the rules of this territory, preventing the weak from entering this place. counting the number of deaths in the divine territory, watching everything, and standing by. However, during the other party's introduction, you actually found that the goddess who created this rule was somewhat familiar. After a sudden look, you found that this is the queen of the imperial city, Zhang Jingxi. So after asking, you found out that the duties of the goddess of the boundless divine territory were not all created by the rules. Some strong people in the continent can also temporarily serve as the goddess through some kind of relationship. So the empress of the imperial city was worried that you would be in danger in the divine territory, and was also worried that her sister, the princess, would take advantage of you through this adventure. So she used many relationships to let the goddess lead you in the boundless divine territory. In this way, she can ignore the rules and help you secretly. After all, she is your woman. After entering the divine territory for more than a month, you have met many friends and seized many small opportunities. Moreover, because your reputation in the continent was already very high before you entered the divine territory, after entering the divine territory, many strong people admired you and formed a united front with you. You also gained a lot of faith and spiritual energy from it, and your strength increased greatly. After a few days, your mother suddenly learned that you, despite being engaged, were still colluding with women from various sects and gangs, including fairies, girls, and witches. She was shocked. With your righteousness and the debate with He Xiangzi and others, you successfully made the family admit that you were a playboy. This adventure greatly increased your strength again. Finally, you and the demon cult witch accidentally met the woman who abandoned the demon cult witch when you were young. The other party's mind was destroyed, and you sent her away and got an opportunity. After more than a month of events, your spiritual energy has been greatly improved, and your spiritual energy level has increased by 4. The resonance of heaven and earth has been improved to level 2. The resonance of heaven and earth at level 2 will make the items you cast become epic quality at least. Not only will there be no side effects, but the time required for production will be changed to an instant, and it does not need to be refined for a long time, and the number of materials required is halved. Your current total attributes are spiritual level 79 nascent soul spiritual power control. Level 2 you can control objects with spiritual power, and you can also walk on water to cross the river. Physical strength 100, unlock the ability to break through the upper limit of lifespan, increase physical strength, and double cultivation. Resonance of heaven and earth, level 2, the minimum quality of manufactured items is epic, side effects are cancelled, manufacturing time disappears, and refining materials are halved. Affinity of all things, level 3, your affinity for the attributes of all things has reached the level of a great man, and you are no longer limited to the ranks of geniuses. Today is Monday. After returning to the north, Lin Zhengren and Han Wenwen successfully returned the rental house and moved all their things to the villa they will live in the future. This morning, Lin Zhengren also moved all his things into the house. Several people officially moved in today. During this period, I listened to the system talking continuously for a long time, and the spiritual energy in my body also gathered more and more. Level 79, only one level away from 80. Moreover, this level 2 resonance of heaven and earth no longer has a manufacturing time, and the materials are halved, which just saves Lin Zhengren a lot of trouble. The phone dinged. It was a message from Pan Lin. Boss Lin, I have found all the materials you asked me to find for you. I will send them to you. Lin Zhengren thought it was pretty quick, and replied, no, you can just find someone to send them to me, no need to come in person. Pan Lin didn't ask any more questions. Okay, then I will find someone to send them to you now. After replying the message, the 3 children came down from the bedroom on the 2nd floor with Zhang Jingxi, talking and laughing. Little He Qing said, Lin Zhengren, are you ready? Let's go to class. Lin Zhengren sat on the sofa and poured himself a glass of water. You guys go? I have something to do today, so I won't go to class. Zhang Zuli was curious. What is it? Han Wenwen took little He Qing's arm. Brother Zhengren is really bold, saying in front of the instructor that he won't go to class. Zhang Jingxi looked at Lin Zhengren gently and helplessly. Although she said she was the instructor. But she couldn't force Zhang to do anything, but she could let Zhang go east or west. But the premise is that if Zhang wants to go west, it will only work if she tells him to go west. Otherwise, if they disagree, Zhang Jingxi will still listen to Lin Zhengren. Lin Zhengren said, don't worry about anything. I'll go to see you in the afternoon after I finish my work in the morning. Han Wenwen secretly raised her hand and asked with a smile, can I also skip class to accompany Brother Zhengren? No, I said I'll go back to see you after I finish my work. I'll be alone in the morning, she refused bluntly. The little fox pouted and was unhappy. Everyone didn't understand what he was going to do, but since Lin Zhengren said so, they had to say goodbye to Lin Zhengren in the villa. Before leaving, they turned back and said hello, then we're leaving, Lin Zhengren, leaving Zhengren. Leaving brother Zhengren, leaving Zheng. Lin Zhengren took another sip of water. Well, go slowly on the way. Watching them leave, he thought to himself that he only had one name. Why did everyone have to call him differently? After the girls left, Lin Zhengren was alone looking at the water cup in his hand. Looking at the clean appearance of the house, it was obvious that He Qing and the others had already cleaned up every corner of the room when they were in the south last week. Lin Zhengren leaned on the sofa, waiting for Pan Lin to deliver the materials for making the ring. Holding a cup in one hand, the other hand stretched out from thin air, and the remote control in the distance flew into his hand, and he found a popular science program to watch. Only when no one was around could he have the opportunity to use these immortal cultivation abilities. By the way, from tonight, everyone has to sleep together, right? Lin Zhengren put down the cup in his hand, took off his slippers, ignored gravity and stepped on the wall to go to the bedroom on the second floor to take a look. I wonder what level of spiritual energy you need to be able to fly? I always feel that it's not that convenient to walk like this. After flying, it should be teleportation, which is more convenient. More than 2 hours later, an Audi car stopped at the door of the villa. It was the people sent by Pan Lin. Chapter 342 Wedding Ring. The driver got out of the car and handed a delicate box of raw materials for the ring to Lin Zhengren, who was walking out of the villa. Boss Lin, this is something Sister Pan asked me to give you. After Lin Zhengren accepted it, he said, thank you for your hard work, but he found that the person in front of him looked familiar. The man was still flattered and smiled. It's not hard, your name is Jiang Ming, right? You used to be a security guard at the head office? How come you're a driver now? He remembered the young security guard who had just joined the company. The boy named Jiang Ming looked at Lin Zhengren in a daze. He really didn't expect that such a rich boss could still remember him. He was very happy. I didn't expect that you still remember me, Boss Lin. I used to be a security guard, but after working for a while, I felt that being a driver seemed to be better and I could make more money. I just started dating a girlfriend some time ago and the expenses were a bit high, so I applied for a transfer to another department. I see, it turns out that you have a girlfriend. Congratulations, thank you for your blessing, Boss Lin. He scratched his head, looking immature. You go back to the company. I received the stuff. Jiang Ming nodded seriously. Okay, Mr. Lin, I'll go back then. Goodbye. Lin Zhengren looked at Jiang Ming driving away and opened the box in his hand. There were dozens of exquisite squares inside, and each square contained a separate diamond and ring. The materials were all top grade. He returned to the living room of the villa and placed the things on the table one by one. Picking up a diamond and a ring, condensing the spiritual energy to create, a wisp of invisible spiritual energy gathered in Lin Zhengren's hand. Although the time consumed for refining the elixir was not too long before, but it still took a few minutes. Now that the resonance of heaven and earth has risen to the second level, the speed of spiritual energy gathering is obviously not a little bit faster. Almost in an instant, the diamond and the ring merged together, and it was natural. The diamond ring sparkled under the refraction of the sun, and the back of the ring was engraved with the initials of He Qing's name by the spiritual energy. It's really fast, and it looks really good, but, let's add something else. Lin Zhengren condensed a little bit of special spiritual energy on it. The spiritual energy added later is unique. As long as the wearer of the ring is in danger, Lin Zhengren, as the injector of spiritual energy, will immediately sense it. The danger level of this world is not high, but adding this function is always good. After making one ring, Lin Zhengren condensed the remaining materials to make 3 rings, a total of 4 rings. However, due to the halving of manufacturing materials after the upgrade, there are actually a lot of materials left. Don't stop, just make 6 rings at once. Anyway, I told He Jin and the others that I can have a maximum of 6 girlfriends. After all the 6 rings were made, Lin Zhengren put them in their respective ring boxes. Go to school. There are always students walking by talking and laughing on the university campus. Lin Zhengren went to the direction of Jiang Jingxi's office, but he saw her talking to a female teacher at a far intersection. Jiang Jingxi, wearing high heels and a 3/4 skirt, had a slender and straight figure. She pushed the frame of her glasses from time to time while talking. It seemed that she really had the habit of wearing glasses all year round. She talked to the teacher for a while and then he left. Later, she sat on a nearby bench and took out her mobile phone to check something. There was a little self-entertaining smile on her face. Lin Zhengren walked over slowly. Instructor, hearing the voice, Zhang Jingshi was startled. When she found out that it was Lin Zhengren, she quickly put away her mobile phone and blushed. Zhang Zhen. Why are you here? Didn't you say you wouldn't come to class in the morning? Lin Zhengren stood in front of him. I said I had something to do and I would be back after I finished it. She deliberately asked. So can the teacher ask Lin Zhengren what he did this morning? Of course, but before I answer, I'm curious about what the instructor was looking at. He was so happy that you hid it when I came over. Zhang Jingshi's mobile phone was on her thigh with her back at the moment. When Lin Zhengren said this, she felt embarrassed. Not daring to look him in the eye. These are just some old photos. If you want to see them, the teacher will show them to you. After all, the teacher cannot disobey Lin Zhengren's words. Lin Zhengren also sat on the bench and took Zhang Jingshi's phone. The photo showed nothing else but a photo of Lin Zhengren in kindergarten. Lin Zhengren in the photo had a very numb expression, and was sitting on a pile of sand with his scissors hand gesture. It looked like this generation of parents was really difficult to lead. Lin Zhengren remembered that this photo was taken by his mother in the park when he was a few years old. He didn't want to take the photo, but she forced him to take it. So he just perfunctorily made a scissors hand gesture. Why do you still have this photo? The memory came to his mind and Lin Zhengren asked curiously. Only my mother has this photo, right? He Qing doesn't seem to have it. Zhang Jingshi put her hands on her thighs and said hesitantly and gently, indeed, only my aunt has it, so this photo was sent to me by my aunt before. Lin Zhengren turned to look at her. Zhang Jingshi was even more embarrassed. My aunt and I have been chatting a lot these days, so from time to time she sends me some photos, about 40 or 50. I think they are very cute, so I saved them all, and occasionally take them out to look at them. When Zhang Jingshi saw the photo at that moment, she was actually stunned for a moment, because the boy in the photo was exactly the same as Lin Zhengren in her memory, which made Zhang Jingshi miss that fierce little guy very much. Lin Zhengren returned the phone to Zhang Jingshi. I see, so the counselor looked at my photo and smiled foolishly in broad daylight. Zhang Jingshi's face was hot, and she explained angrily, isn't it okay to smile? Sister can't look at your photo with a sad face. Zhang is making fun of me. He smiled and took out a small box from his pocket and handed it to the other party. Didn't the counselor just ask me what I did this morning? Here you go. What is this? She suddenly felt familiar with this small box when she saw it, but the disbelief in her mind made her dare not think about it at all, but her body was honest. She looked at the other person in panic. Zhang, what's in this box? Lin Zhengren, you'll know if you open it and take a look. Zhang Jingshi took it very cautiously, and her heart was pounding as she looked at the small box that seemed to contain some kind of jewelry. She slowly opened it. There were 2 sparkling diamond rings inside. Zhang Jingshi's pupils trembled, and she subconsciously covered her lips, her cheeks burning. Is this a pair of wedding rings? Lin Zhengren blinked. Not a wedding ring, huh? Lin Zhengren stared at one of the rings. One of the rings inside was dropped into the sewer by Jingshi before, and I found it for you. The other one was made for you by me. She picked up the familiar ring and found that it was really the one she had dropped before. At first she thought it was a wedding ring, which scared her to death. She almost thought that Zhang didn't like to propose, so he took out the wedding ring directly. Wait, you said the other one was made for me by yourself. Chapter 343 Proposal. Lin Zhengren nodded and did not deny it. This made the eldest daughter of the Zhang family panic. Why did Zhang think of making a ring for me? Lin Zhengren reached out and picked up the ring. The day before yesterday, when I found Jingshi's lost ring in the sewer, I accidentally found 4 words you had someone carve on the back. Zhang Jingshi pursed her lips, and those 4 words were love at first sight. Then, she asked. Lin Zhengren said, then I remembered that I once asked you a long time ago why you wore this ring. You said it was to celebrate meeting me? Did you say that? Yes, it is. It was very shy to admit it. But according to my memory, the first time we met was at the school gate of high school. Jingshi came to see me for Zhangjin. We didn't communicate much during the whole process. The way you looked at me was different from now. If you say it was love at first sight, he said meaningfully, I think it's not very realistic. Jingshi is not the kind of person who will immediately like a boy when she first meets him. You are very cautious, so I recalled it and found that I seemed to have met a little girl who looked a bit like you when I was a child." Zhang Jingshi's pupils widened. Lin's Hengren didn't continue to speak, but asked back, "That should be you?" She got lost in the community. I accidentally saw her and let her out of the community. Zhang Jingshi was stunned and looked at Lin's Hengren infatuatedly. The redness on her face faded a little, but she was more excited. She half lowered her head and shyly covered her mouth with the back of her hand. Mosquito hummed, "Well, it's me," he finally remembered. "No wonder you said I was fierce the night I was at your rental house. I had no impression of you being fierce. You answered me that way when I asked you." Zhang Jingshi bit her lip. "You are indeed a little different from when you were a child. You are not always that fierce." The time when he checked her feet flashed before her eyes, and she whispered, "But I can still be fierce sometimes." After that, she turned to look at Lin's Hengren, and asked angrily for some reason, "Zhang, you remember this too late. When I first saw you, I thought you looked familiar, and I immediately asked someone to check if it was you. As a result, you only remembered it now. It seems that you really have no impression of my childhood." She was very curious. "I was so ugly when I was a child, so you don't have any memory of me." Lin's Hengren paused, smiled and told the truth. "After all, children are very troublesome. I didn't have much interest in little girls at that time, so I didn't take it to heart." Zhang Jingshi was speechless. Lin's Hengren said, "So to make up for my forgetting this, I thought of making you a ring as a gift." Zhang Jingshi looked down at the sparkling diamond ring in the box again, her earlobes red. "So that's how it is," I thought. "But just because we are boyfriend and girlfriend, even if it is to make up, we shouldn't give each other a ring. This thing has other meanings." "Of course I know." She looked at Lin's Hengren in surprise. Lin's Hengren took the diamond ring from the box, stared at Zhang Jingshi intently, and said without hesitation, "Jingshi, wait until you graduate to marry me. Before graduation I will go to my uncle and aunt to propose marriage." Zhang Jingshi covered her mouth with both hands. She really couldn't imagine every step Lin's Hengren took. Who would have thought that on this ordinary day, Zhang would propose to her? There was no sign at all, but she looked at each other for a long time, and then slowly stretched out her jade hand. "Help me put it on." "Sister is willing." Lin's Hengren carefully put the ring on his ring finger. She stared at the diamond ring on her ring finger, not caring that they were in school, and hugged Lin's Hengren directly. Very gentle, Zhang, but before they hugged for 3 seconds, a few students passed by in the distance, and they quickly separated. Even those students knew Zhang Jingshi. "Hello, Teacher Zhang." It is still easy for beautiful teachers to be famous in school. Zhang Jingshi sat upright and greeted them with a slightly red face. "Hello," the girl said unintentionally. "Teacher Zhang, your face is so red." In the past, Zhang Jingshi never exposed her emotions so obviously in school, but today was really such an unexpected proposal. She wanted to return to her usual self immediately, but she couldn't. "I have a cold." She had to push her glasses to hide her embarrassment. Fortunately, the girls didn't care too much, because they were attracted by Lin's Hengren next to them one by one. The handsome Lin's Hengren made the girl blush, and nervously said, "Lin's Hengren is here too." "Then teacher, let's go." Then they shyly walked away together. Lin's Hengren smiled and let out a long breath. She turned around and looked at Zhang Jingshi, who was looking at her tenderly. The two slowly held hands together and smiled at each other. At noon, the sun was shining brightly. Zhang Jin, with her long black hair, was holding a stack of documents for unknown purposes. She passed under the willow trees on campus. She happened to meet her sister, who looked inexplicably happy. This was the second time. Zhang Jin felt annoyed when she heard the sound of high heels. She wanted to pass by her sister with a cold face and pretend to be a passerby. Moreover, Zhang Jingshi seemed different this time, as if she was happier and more cheerful. Zhang Jin could obviously see that her sister was sick. The other party took the initiative to greet her. "Student Zhang Jin, where have you been?" Zhang Jin gritted her teeth and didn't want to talk. As a result, her elder sister actually stopped her and deliberately said, "Why don't you talk to the teacher? You are disrespectful to your elders. It's a bit of a violation of the etiquette of the Zhang family, isn't it?" "Little classmate Zhang Jin." "What is a little classmate?" Zhang Jin had no choice but to stop and gritted her teeth. "What does it have to do with you? I am doing my usual activities. Do you still have to control it?" Zhang Jingshi looked happy and joyful. It felt that nothing could break her current mood. She said gently, "Why is classmate Zhang Jin so fierce to the teacher?" The teacher is just concerned about the situation of the students in her class. The second lady clenched her fist. What on earth are you going to do? Jiang Jing. She walked in front of Jiang Jin and looked at her sister. I don't want to do anything. I just saw a piece of broken leaves on your hair. She deliberately stretched out the hand with a ring to remove the broken leaves stuck on Jiang Jin's hair. Classmate Jiang Jin is really beautiful today. She said that she was afraid that her sister didn't see it and deliberately used her hands to tidy her hair. Jiang Jin looked like she saw a ghost. Are you sick? Don't touch me, okay? After saying that, she did see the extra ring on her sister's hand. Who is sick? She came back to her senses. You? Who am I? You have to call your position when you are working, Jiang Jin. I am still very sick. I am leaving. She wanted to leave again. But she was stopped by Jiang Jing. She again, shaking the ring on her hand. Classmate Jiang Jin, haven't you seen it yet? Your brother-in-law gave it to me. Jiang Jin's fist creaked and half turned back, with a bit of jealousy on her face. I saw it, so what? What's wrong with giving me a ring? Jiang Jing, she pointed out. Ring finger? What ring finger? What's the difference between the middle finger and the ring finger? You can wear it wherever you want. It has nothing to do with me. It's just a ring. Who cares? He will give me one in the future. With a cold snort, she left quickly. The knowledgeable Jiang Jin actually didn't know the meaning of a girl wearing a ring on each finger. After all, she didn't care about such things before. So the jealousy on her face was just jealous of her sister's gift. Jiang Jing, she didn't react until she left. No way, Kyankian knows so little about relationships. She doesn't know what it means when a boy gives her a ring. She also doesn't know the meaning of wearing a ring on the ring finger. How did she grow up like this, a caveman? Chapter 344, Breakthrough to Level 80. While adventuring in the boundless divine territory, you discovered that the Empress's personal guards had channels to obtain rare materials, but although these materials were rare, they could not be forged unless they were top-level creators. But your cultivation has now reached the nascent soul level, and it is easy for you to fuse these materials. The other party handed these materials to you, and you successfully forged 6 heavenly-level secret treasures with your surging spiritual power. After these secret treasures appeared in the world, they were not only extremely strong and impervious to water and fire, but also strengthened the spiritual connection between the wearer and you. You gave one of the secret treasures to the Imperial City Empress as an engagement ring. From then on, the spiritual connection between you and the Empress will be maximized. Your spiritual energy level is increased by 1. The maximum connection with the Empress increases your cultivation speed by 50%. Congratulations on your successful breakthrough to level 80. Spiritualization stage. Congratulations on your physical strength attribute being upgraded to level 1 of the Gathering Spirit Body. The Gathering Spirit Body is consistent with other attributes and has a maximum level of 5. The first level effect of the Soul Gathering Body is your lifespan limit breaks through to 200. You gain the ability of chronic self-healing after being injured. If you have a fatal injury, it will be reduced to a serious injury. If you have a serious injury, it will be reduced to a light injury, and it cannot be continuously reduced for the time being, and your physical strength doubles. Lin Zhengren, who was walking on the campus, blinked his eyes when he heard the system's words. Another breakthrough? This time it was so fast, it stands to reason that such a large level would take a long time to improve in the past. Is it because of the ring this time? Indeed, the wedding ring represents a great significance in this world, so it should also be a top-level magic weapon in the eyes of the system. In this case, I still have 5 rings. If I give them all away, wouldn't I be able to improve my level a lot more? While thinking, Lin Zhengren felt the changes in his body. Stopped. Although ordinary people can't detect it with the naked eye, he can clearly see that the spiritual energy that originally existed in his body is now slowly gathering together. The scattered spiritual energy is all integrated into the main vein, and with this integration, the body temperature rises. After half a minute, it slowly returns to normal and stabilizes. He looked down at his arm, feeling his current body. Obviously, there was no difference to the naked eye, but only Lin Zhengren himself knew that it was a world of difference from the previous body that would not get sick. Especially the self-healing ability. He was really curious about the extent of this ability. Would it be as exaggerated as in some movies and TV shows? So he found a deserted place. He picked up a fairly sharp stone from the ground and deliberately slid it down his forearm. However, the stone, which was obviously very sharp, did not even scratch Lin Zhengren's skin, and there was no redness or swelling. My body's strength has doubled, so I am so strong? It seems that unless it is an extremely sharp knife, it is difficult for other things to hurt me. There was no other way. In order to test the healing power, he had to simply inject spiritual power into the stone. With the injection of spiritual power, the creation ability of the resonance between heaven and earth was activated, and the tip of the stone became obviously sharper, and it would even have a little cold light when it was exposed to the sun. Lin's Hengren made a proper scratch on his arm. A shallow injury finally appeared, and bright red blood flowed out of the wound. Observing the injury, he watched the wound on his arm change in an instant, and the flesh and blood were reorganizing themselves. It took about 15 seconds. The wound completely disappeared, the blood disappeared, and there was no trace of the wound. Lin's Hengren touched it with his hand in surprise, and it was really intact. He could no longer feel any pain. 15 seconds, what would happen if the wound was bigger? Would it be 15 seconds? Or would it be slower? Lin's Hengren took the stone and frowned slightly and cut a big cut on his arm. Blood dripped from his elbow to the ground. He was about to calculate the time. A little fox in the distance accidentally found Lin's Hengren standing behind the bushes, not knowing what he was doing. Brothers Hengren, the little fox walked over in surprise, and found that Lin's Hengren seemed to be holding a stone. It seemed that he accidentally cut his arm with a stone. The blood had already dripped from his arm to the stone. Brothers Hengren, what happened to you? The panicked little fox couldn't bear to see Lin's Hengren injured, and rushed over in a hurry. Tears welled up in his eyes almost instantly. Lin's Hengren also found Han Wenwen at this time. Wenwen? Why are you here, Brothers Hengren? What are you doing? She grabbed Lin's Hengren's hand, very scared, but her pupils dilated. Because she looked over and saw no wounds on Lin's Hengren's arm. Huh? Han Wenwen was very confused. She had just seen that Lin's Hengren's arm was injured and blood was dripping. Why is it gone now? She looked down at the stone on the ground and found that the blood on the stone had disappeared. Unbelievably, she rubbed her eyes, but it was still the same. Lin's Hengren asked, "What's wrong, Wenwen? What are you looking at?" 15 seconds. It's also 15 seconds. It seems that as long as the injury is not serious, it will recover within 15 seconds. Because the system has mentioned the distinction between serious and minor injuries when describing it, and Lin's Hengren obviously feels that the greater the injury, the greater the pain when recovering. So it should be correct, but this is still level 1. If the level is upgraded in the future, can a serious injury be recovered within 15 seconds? Han Wenwen's eyes were red. I just saw Brothers Hengren injured, but Lin's Hengren smiled and reached out to touch Han Wenwen's head to comfort her. What are you thinking about? How could I be injured for no reason? Han Wenwen didn't understand what was going on, but it was good that Brothers Hengren was okay. She was really scared at that moment, and hurriedly hugged Lin's Hengren. I was scared to death, she cried, her heartbeat quickened several times. What will Wenwen do if Brothers Hengren gets hurt? Fortunately, I just saw it wrong. It's okay, don't worry. Han Wenwen looked at the sharp stone in Lin's Hengren's other hand. But what is Brothers Hengren doing with this stone? This stone is so sharp. Lin's Hengren looked at the stone blessed by spiritual energy in his hand and explained, I just picked it up out of curiosity. Han Wenwen looked at Lin's Hengren worriedly. Throw it away, Brothers Hengren, it's so scary. Yeah, he nodded helplessly. Lin's Hengren squatted down and knocked off the sharp part of the stone, and then threw it into the lotus pond in the distance. This small stone has become epic quality under Lin's Hengren's creation. Although he can destroy the stone with a casual knock, it is actually difficult for ordinary people to damage it. This way, we don't have to worry about other people being stabbed by this stone. Han Wenwen breathed a sigh of relief standing aside. Lin's Hengren asked, but Wenwen, why aren't you with He Qing and the others? Since Lin's Hengren wasn't hurt, her mood recovered quickly and she smiled and said, I found an excuse to sneak out. Brothers Hengren, do you remember that you promised to buy me underwear with me? Let's go buy some while we're moving. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345 Mercury Retrograde. In the school cafe, Xiao Heqing bought 2 drinks and sat down, while Zhang Zuli opposite her was flipping through a book to study. Although college is free, you can't really play every day, you have to read a book occasionally. But Xiao Heqing was very curious. Lily, if you want to study, Why don't you go to the library? Isn't it quieter there than here? Here, I bought you a drink. Zhang Zuli took the drink and said thank you. Study? I'm not studying, aren't you reading a book? Xiao Heqing didn't understand. Zhang Zuli looked down at the book in her hand and said with a smile, This is not it. I saw a post online a few days ago saying that if you carry a book with you when you rest, your luck will change in a short period of time, so I brought it with me. I have had some Mercury retrograde in the past 2 days. Mercury retrograde? Yeah, she said helplessly. Recently, when I eat with chopsticks, disposable chopsticks will crack in the middle, I will choke when I drink water, and my hair will get stuck when I comb my hair. Even when I call Zhengren, the phone will fall to the ground and crack. She took out the mobile phone with a cracked screen to prove it. Look, Xiao Heqing was stunned. Are you kidding? She was dejected. I know you don't believe it, and I don't believe it either, but this is the fact, otherwise I wouldn't find such a weird method. After that, Zhang Zuli inserted the straw, but accidentally used too much force. The cup fell over, and water flowed out of it, splashing on the book and the mobile phone. Zhang Zuli and Xiao Heqing were so shocked that they quickly took out toilet paper to wipe it. However, the book was still a little softened, the mobile phone was also soaked in water, the skirt was also wet, and the screen was black and frozen. Zhang Zuli looked at the mess on the table and said with a wronged look, See, I told you that Mercury is retrograde recently and nothing goes well for me. My phone is completely broken. Xiao Heqing, who saw it with her own eyes, was convinced. I really saw it this time. I am really unlucky. I'm sorry, Lily, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have bought you water, don't blame you, this is Mercury retrograde. After saying that, Xiao Heqing imitated Lin Zhengren and touched Zhang Zuli's head. I'm so sorry, Lily, don't cry, it will be fine. Zhang Zuli wanted to cry but had no tears. Since I came back from the south last week, I received a reminder call from the music company and it started like this. But it's okay for me to be unlucky now. I'm just afraid of what if I'm unlucky in the competition a year ago. I'm going to go in 2 months. This is the most important competition in my life. Xiao Heqing thought that it was really hard to help with this kind of thing. Why don't we ask Lin Zhengren if he has any solution? Asked Zhengren. Zhengren can't do this, right? He's not a god. How can he change my luck? Little He Qing sipped her drink. That's true. Just as she finished speaking, Zhang Jin passed by from a distance outside the tea house, attracting the attention of little He Qing and Zhang Zuli. She was holding some forms in her hand. Zhang Zuli was puzzled. What is Zhang Jin busy with recently? She hasn't bothered Zhengren for a long time, and she is rarely seen except in class. Little He Qing shook her head. I don't know, and she hasn't been together with Fang Meng recently. It seems that they have separated. Zhang Zuli pressed her mobile phone again. It was indeed completely broken, and she had to buy a new one. I don't understand the two of them. By the way, where did Han Wenwen go? Little He Qing turned around and looked at Zhang Zuli. Oh, Wenwen said she went to the lingerie store near the school to buy lingerie. I guess she will be back for a while. Zhang Zuli asked little He Qing, buying lingerie? Why didn't she ask us to go together? Little He Qing sipped her drink. She said she didn't want to disturb your studies, so she asked me to stay here with you and went by herself. Who knew you were holding a book but not reading it? Zhang Zuli suddenly had a premonition of something, and her eyes were disdainful. Wait, He Qing, don't you think something is wrong? Zhengren hasn't come yet, and Wenwen is not here either. Do you think it is possible that the fox went to find Zhengren? Little He Qing was a little startled. No way? Wenwen said she would be back soon. It's not like she won't come back. How can she find Lin Zhengren in such a short time? Lin Zhengren is still at home. Zhang Zuli snorted. Anything is possible, but it's also possible that I'm overthinking. She stood up. I'll buy another glass of water. Wait for me, okay? As a result, when Zhang Zuli left her seat, she was inexplicably hit on the arm by the corner of the table again. She groaned in her mouth and looked down at the white elbow at the injured part in pain. Little He Qing worriedly said, Are you okay, Lily? How can you be so unlucky? I happen to have a band-aid in my bag. Wait a minute. Zhang Zuli looked at her elbow, which had gradually turned from white to red, in pain. It was obvious that the skin was broken, but fortunately there was no bleeding. After putting on the band-aid given by He Qing, she said thank you and went to buy water by herself. Although the bar is not far from here, and a 3-year-old child can buy water smoothly, He Qing actually began to worry whether Lily could do such a difficult task. Jiang Zuli pressed both sides of the band-aid and asked for a glass of lemonade. Sister, give me a glass of lemonade. Okay, wait a moment. While waiting, a familiar girl suddenly appeared from nowhere. Student Jiang Zuli, do you have time? Jiang Zuli looked at the person and found out that it was Feng Meng. Feng Meng, who was standing aside, was wearing a very fashionable plaid shirt and a short skirt. The straight white legs were very eye-catching. Lily stared at her best friend Jiang Jin, who had a ponytail. What do you want to talk to me about? Feng Meng said calmly. I want to ask you some questions. I don't know if it's convenient for you. As a reward, I can tell you how to crack Mercury retrograde. She took out a certificate from her arm. Seriously, I am a professional. I have passed the fortune teller's certificate exam before. You can trust me. Jiang Zuli took it in disbelief. Feng Meng's name was indeed written on it. She was shocked. Is it true? Is there such a certificate in the world? By the way, how did you know that I have Mercury retrograde? Feng Meng, you have been exuding bad luck all over your body these 2 days. I can see it at a glance. And I just saw with my own eyes that you have a series of bad luck. It must be Mercury retrograde. Jiang Zuli, she said to Feng Meng, do you have a lot of questions? Where do you plan to ask? I still have to accompany He Qing. It's okay right here. I'll buy you this glass of lemonade. I have 5 questions for you. After you answer them, I'll tell you how to crack Mercury retrograde. Don't worry, they're all trivial questions, very simple, okay? So Feng Meng and Jiang Zuli sat at the table again. Jiang Zuli smoothed her ponytails and carefully inserted the straw, and successfully drank the water. She breathed a sigh of relief. Ask. Feng Meng took out a small notebook. The first question, Lin's Hengren is now playing 3, oh no, 4 boats, right? Jiang Zuli blushed and choked, and really sprayed a mouthful of lemonade on Feng Meng's face. She kept coughing. Chapter 346 Divination. After coughing, Jiang Zuli looked at Feng Meng with saliva all over her face and apologized. I'm sorry I choked. But what are you asking? This is a small question. Feng Meng didn't react much, just put down the small notebook and stood up. I'm going to the bathroom to wash my face. Wait for me. Jiang Zuli looked at Feng Meng, who was leaving in confusion, wondering what she was going to do. After a while, Feng Meng came back after washing her face and wiped the remaining water stains on the table with toilet paper. Okay, continue to answer, but please don't drink water while answering. Jiang Zuli was about to take another sip when she heard him put down the drink. Continue to answer what? Why should I answer such questions? If it's really a small question, it's fine. I have the right to remain silent about this kind of question. Feng Meng stared at Jiang Zuli. Why keep silent? Jiang Zuli blushed and retorted. Why, is there any reason? I just don't want to say it. I think your question is very abstract. How could Hengren be cheating on 3, no, 4 boats? Why does Feng Meng care about such things? The other party picked up the notebook again and said seriously, then let me ask you, do you like classmate Lin's Hengren? Do He Qing and Han Wenwen also like classmate Lin's Hengren? I remember Han Wenwen mentioned this on the first day of school. Jiang Zuli was a little flustered. So what? Does liking someone prove that Hengren is having multiple relationships? It's true that it can't be completely proved, but it can at least prove 10%. After all, the prerequisite for opening a harem is that girls like him. You don't deny this, right? Oh, then let's go with the 10% you said. What's wrong with 10%? Feng Meng continued. I met you in high school. In high school, I once asked He Qing, and she told me that she was Lin Hengren's girlfriend. She told me this in person, and you were not very happy at that time. You don't deny this, right? So what if I don't deny it? Since He Qing is already his girlfriend, and we haven't broken up yet, why are you still so close to him all day long? Is it not okay if I want to? I just want to play with him. We are childhood sweethearts, but when the boy already has a girlfriend, they are still so close. Isn't this the behavior of a mistress? Jiang Zuli was provoked to stand up, but after looking at the people around her, she still whispered back, who are you saying is a mistress? I'm not a mistress, I'm a serious girl to Hengren, a serious girlfriend, right? Feng Meng asked back. Jiang Zuli covered her mouth and sat down again awkwardly, wondering why she was so excited. It was just a provocation. I didn't say that, I was talking about a female friend. Feng Meng asked word by word, so you are not Lin Hengren's girlfriend? You are just an ordinary friend of his? A passerby? A passerby who is not close to He Qing at all. Jiang Zuli's face became redder and redder, and finally she couldn't help it. Nonsense, I have the same status as He Qing in Zhengren's heart, and we are both the most important people to him. Provocation still worked on Lily. I think so. After all, I remember that when we were in high school, I asked you about your relationship with Lin Zhengren, and you said you were his girlfriend. Zhang Zuli was embarrassed. No, then why are you still trying to get my attention if you know all that? And what about 10%? I just teased you because I thought you were cute. Zhang Zuli clenched her fists shyly, and her twin ponytails bounced with her body. You are crazy, Feng Meng wrote in the notebook, so you are admitting that Lin Zhengren is at least cheating on her, right? Zhang Zuli sipped her drink and didn't say anything. Feng Meng said to herself, our eldest daughter, who is currently the instructor of our class, is also Lin Zhengren's girlfriend. This is something that Lin Zhengren admitted himself, so he is at least cheating on 3 people at the same time. Zhang Zuli looked away. Feng Meng, finally, it's classmate Han Wenwen, Lily suddenly reminded seriously, although I don't know what you want to do, don't tell anyone else about this. It will cause trouble for Zhengren. It doesn't matter to us. Of course, if you insist on telling it, I can't stop you. At most, we are not friends anymore. Feng Meng interrupted herself. Don't worry, no matter from the interests of the eldest lady or from the friendship between us, my friendship with Lin Zhengren, I will not tell anyone about this. I swear on my body that if I lie, I can be used by Lin Zhengren at will in the future. Zhang Zuli's originally serious face was suddenly full of question marks. What did she just hear? Feng Meng picked up the notebook. Okay, let's continue. So Lin Zhengren is really? There was a hint of jealousy on her face, cheating 4 women at the same time. He is really a philanderer. Zhang Zuli, no, what did you just say? Feng Meng ignored Zhang Zuli. Okay, start the second question. Zhang Zuli didn't understand. You have asked a lot of questions, why are you only starting the second one? And what did you just say? That's just a form of punishment. It represents my determination. Besides, the questions just now are all classified as one question and don't count. Nonsense. Do you really think I'm idle? I will answer one more question at most, and then you tell me the method of Mercury retrograde, and the negotiation is over. Feng Meng thought about it and said, okay, then the last question, what do you like to eat? What do you like to play? What time do you usually go to bed? What do you do when you have nothing to do? And what do you like about Lin Zhengren? She added, don't worry, I won't spread the answers to these questions. If I tell anyone except Kyankian, the punishment will be the same as before. Zhang Zuli was speechless. You really are such a person. Why do you know all this? Are you secretly in love with me? I don't like girls, but of course you are really cute. Zhang Zuli still answered, after all, these questions are not something that cannot be told to others. Besides, the other party always praised her cuteness and said that he would keep the secret, so Zhang Zuli didn't dislike this guy too much? Feng Meng wrote it down. I understand, it is a little different from what I observed before, but it is indeed in line with Zhang Zuli's habits, but the last point is a bit vague. You said you like everything about Lin Zhengren, which is too general. Zhang Zuli finished the last sip of the drink and put down the cup and said, generally? I don't think so. What kind of awareness do you think I have to say such a thing? I have liked Zhengren for more than 10 years, and my feelings for him are 100%. Feng Meng paused to write and asked another question, if it is not 100%. You should not allow the boy you like to have a harem. If you don't like him that much, I would have left long ago. Zhang Zuli snorted and continued to be silent. Okay, thank you for your answer. I will tell you how to resolve Mercury retrograde now. Feng Meng took out a bunch of divination cards from her pocket and spread them out for Zhang Zuli to choose. Zhang Zuli thought it was quite formal, so she picked one and handed it to her. Feng Meng saw the answer on the card. Your way to resolve Mercury retrograde is to eat the chocolate that your boyfriend chews. She blushed after saying that. Zhang Zuli's face was burning when she heard the answer. What kind of divination is this? And chocolate will melt if you chew it, then it has nothing to do with me. This is what the divination card said. Zhang Zuli turned around to leave, but she stopped after taking a few steps and turned her back to her. Hey Feng Meng, you like Zhengren too, right? Chapter 347 Handle. Feng Meng was stunned, and then put away the carbon pen. Not all girls in this world will like Lin Zhengren, even if he is extremely outstanding. Zhang Zuli half turned her head and looked at Feng Meng. Of course I know this kind of thing, but you still didn't answer my question directly. Don't worry, I won't tell Zhang Jin. I just want to hear you tell the truth. Feng Meng was silent. Jiang Zuli pursed her lips and frowned slightly. Not answering means tacit consent. I really didn't care that you liked it before, but if you didn't like it, you wouldn't have the jealous expression on your face when you confirmed that Zhengren had a harem just now. Feng Meng looked up in confusion. Was I jealous just now? Well, although I hid it very secretly and didn't want people to see it, I still found it. If it was before, I might have thought I was wrong, but after experiencing the incident with the fox, I am still very accurate in judging people now. Jiang Zuli's eyes became sharp, with the cold light flashing. Feng Meng clenched her fingers slowly. I hope you won't tell Qianqian about this, okay? The other party smiled. Of course, since you just said you would keep it a secret for us, then I will keep it a secret for you. But you and Jiang Jin can forget about dating Zhengren. 4 is already a lot, and we 4 don't plan to let Zhengren date 2 more, although it was said before that he could date 2 at most. Thank you, Jiang Zuli. Can I ask when did you fall in love with him? I don't think you are the kind of person who would be tempted by beauty. Feng Meng looked at Jiang Zuli. It has nothing to do with personality. I fell in love with Lin Zhengren after he took me to KTV in high school. But you, He Qing, Han Wenwen, Miss, each of you has your own unique personality. As for me, even I don't know what my personality is. I'm just an ordinary girl. Why are you suddenly telling the truth? Jiang Zuli held her head high and proudly closed one eye to see the truth. Are you trying to say that you think you are ordinary, so you think you can't pursue Zhengren, and you just have a crush on him? But I think the look in your eyes just now doesn't mean you give up on Zhengren. Feng Meng's pupils changed slightly, staring at Jiang Zuli, who was usually silly. I didn't expect her observation skills to be so good. Of course, what Feng Meng didn't know was that Jiang Zuli's last sentence was just a casual remark. At most, she could tell which girls liked Lin Zhengren, and she couldn't tell the others. Jiang Zuli said casually, in fact, we are all ordinary girls, there is no difference. We are just protected too well by Zhengren, so we can keep our childhood personality. Let me tell you a secret. Before I met Zhengren, I actually didn't have any friends. At that time, I liked to be the discipline committee member in the class, and everyone in the class hated me. She said to Feng Meng, if I hadn't met Zhengren, I might be seen as a guy who doesn't like to talk much and is boring in the eyes of others. After that, Lily went back to find He Qing. Feng Meng looked at Jiang Zuli's cheerful footsteps, and her golden twin ponytails jumped with her footsteps. The corners of her mouth slowly curled up, and she was relieved. It seems that classmate Lin Zhengren really saved the lives of many girls. Jiang Zuli returned to He Qing's table. Little He Qing was playing with her mobile phone. When she saw her come back, she was curious. Lily, you bought drinks for a year? It took you so long to come back? And where are your drinks? I finished them. Jiang Zuli covered her mouth and whispered in He Qing's ear. I was delayed for a while because I met Feng Meng just now. Feng Meng. She looked back and saw Feng Meng in the distance. Jiang Zuli nodded and sat down, continuing to cover her mouth and lower her voice, saying, she knows that Zhengren has a harem, and asked me some strange questions. Huh? What should we do? We must find a way to prevent her from telling anyone. Jiang Zuli waved her hand confidently. Don't worry, I have already got the handle on that guy, so she won't tell our secret to others. Handle? Is it reliable? Jiang Zuli smiled evilly. Quite reliable? This is a big handle. Zio He Qing blinked. Lily, your expression is so evil, like a bad guy. But it seems that this handle is indeed reliable, and you said she asked you some questions? What exactly were they? Jiang Zuli told the truth. Just asked me what I like to eat, what I like to play, what time I go to bed and so on. I don't know what she is doing. Zio He Qing frowned. Why does it sound so perverted? She won't like you. What? Jiang Zuli pouted and said embarrassedly, but I thought so at the first second, and I asked her, but obviously she doesn't have that idea about me. Then why should I ask you such a thing? Little He Qing still didn't understand. As soon as he finished speaking, Feng Meng suddenly appeared next to him. Feng Meng held a notebook and said seriously, hello. Jiang Zuli and little He Qing were both shocked. Jiang Zuli, why are you here again? Feng Meng turned his head and looked at He Qing. This time I'm not here to see classmate Jiang Zuli, I want to talk to classmate He Qing. Little He Qing pointed at himself. Talk to me? What do you want to talk to me about? I don't know anything. He waved his hands quickly. I haven't asked yet, Feng Meng said. Little He Qing covered her eyes in panic. I don't know anything you ask me. I won't say a word about Lin Zhengren. And I don't like girls. Feng Meng, what does the last sentence mean? Don't worry, It's not about Lin Hengren. When I asked Zhang Zuli just now, Lin Hengren's question was already very clear. Zhang Zuli was speechless. Hey, you are talking so weird. Why do you say it as if I leaked the secret? You are not sent by Zhang Jin to sow discord, right? It's obviously you who found out. Okay. Feng Meng looked at Zhang Zuli, and suddenly threw a coquettish eye at Zhang Zuli. Zhang Zuli clenched her fists, closed her eyes and clarified, why are you throwing a coquettish eye at me? You make me look like a snitch. I am not in the same camp as you. Feng Meng coughed and said seriously, okay, no kidding, it was indeed I who found out. Zhang Zuli is very tight-lipped. Zhang Zuli looked at her with contempt. Little He Qing continued to cover her eyes, her voice soft and sticky. Even if you really want to sow discord, it's useless. Lily and I are good sisters. I believe Lily and don't believe you no matter what you say. Even though you and I are friends, Zhang Zuli actually felt a little touched. The sisterly love is deep. Fang Meng said to He Qing, so can I ask you a few questions? Not about Lin Hengren, only about you. As a reward, I can give you a few photos of Lin Hengren in our class during high school. They are all extremely rare editions. Only Kyankian and I have them in the world. Little He Qing secretly looked at Fang Meng through her fingers. Really? Okay, thank you for the 100 starting coins rewarded by the boss of Fu Iao Dark Light. Bow to thank you. Chapter 348 The Secret That Is Not a Secret. Then can you please sit inside, He Qing? I'll just ask you here, Fang Meng said. Oh, okay. But can I see the goods? Can you let me take a look at those photos first? Of course. Fang Meng took out her phone and found those super rare group photos of Lin Hengren's class from the album to show He Qing and Zhang Zuli. Among those photos were photos of Lin Hengren giving lectures, photos of Lin Hengren writing on the blackboard, etc. He Qing and Zhang Zuli were fascinated by them. They couldn't help but comment, these are really super rare photos. He Qing quickly leaned in, waiting for the questions very well and concentrating. Fang Meng, please sit down, you can ask now. Fang Meng sat next to He Qing with a small notebook. My questions are actually very simple. He Qing, what do you like to eat? What time do you get up and go to bed? What color do you like? What do you like to do and play when you are bored? He Qing thought to herself that these questions were really the same as what Lily said, just like a pervert questionnaire. Fang Meng added, don't worry, I won't tell the answers to these questions to anyone except Kyankian. Girls' privacy is very important, and you can also avoid some privacy issues. Just answer what you want to say, but it must be true. Little He Qing nodded, okay, then I will answer you one by one. More than 10 minutes later, Fang Meng remembered the answers that Little He Qing said and closed the notebook. Thank you for your answer. The transaction is completed. I will send the photos to you now. Thank you. He Qing quickly took out her mobile phone to receive the photos, but while watching the other party send them, the innocent He Qing looked at the beautiful Fang Meng and asked, classmate Fang Meng, I also have a questions to ask you. You say, I will answer everything I can. Why do you have photos of Lin Hengren in your mobile phone? Huh? Fang Meng was stunned and looked up at He Qing. Little He Qing said, I know that Zhang Jin likes Lin Hengren very much, but as her best friend, you shouldn't have so many photos of Lin Hengren saved, right? Unless, Fang Meng interrupted and explained, I am Jin Jin's assistant. Sometimes I am responsible for taking photos of the class, so they are kept in my phone. Little He Qing blinked her youthful almond eyes. Is that so? That's not right. I have taken photos of classmates before, and there are also albums, but many of your photos are personal photos, with only Lin Hengren and no other people in them. Even if you are Zhang Jin's assistant, it stands to reason that a girl's phone would not have a situation like this where she would save a photo of a boy alone, right? What do you think? Anyway, I will definitely not save personal photos of boys other than Lin Hengren. What about you, Lily? Fang Meng was speechless. Zhang Zuli was amazed at the sight and thought that He Qing's observation skills were so sharp. Answer, of course I wouldn't. Little He Qing continued to ask, look, and even if you took them before, you should be able to delete these photos. Anyway, you said Zhang Jin also has photos, so why don't you delete them? You don't have any reason to keep them? Unless you want to keep them and take them out to look at them from time to time. You just what? Fang Meng wanted to make up a reason, but really. Fang Meng, Little He Qing looked at Fang Meng who was trying hard to find a reason. Covering her mouth, thinking of a possibility, blushing in surprise. You like Lin Hengren too, don't you? Do you like Lin Hengren too? Does Zhang Jin know about this? Kyankian she. Classmate Jiang Jin doesn't know. She lowered her voice and turned to ask Jiang Zuli, Lily, this can't be the handle of Fang Meng you just said. Jiang Zuli laughed inexplicably. The facts were in front of her. It is. Fang Meng's face was full of blushes. Is it really so obvious that I like Lin's Hengren? Did Jiang Zuli and He Qing have such keen observation skills in the past? Why can anyone see it? After a while, Fang Meng bought 2 more drinks from the bar and brought them to the 2 women. She shyly whispered, please have a drink for you too. I hope you won't tell Qianqian about this. Keep it a secret from me, and I will keep it a secret for you too. Not long after, Fang Meng left the tea house with a red face, holding the notebook. Little He Qing looked back at Fang Meng's figure, so she also likes Lin's Hengren, so in that case, all the girls around Lin's Hengren like Lin's Hengren. Jiang Zuli leaned back in her chair with her arms crossed over her chest. There's nothing I can do. Who made Hengren look like a reincarnated succubus? How can a girl stand such an excellent boy? The playboy's Hengren. Little He Qing turned over. There's one more rival in love. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Fang Meng is in the same camp as Jiang Jin. We were on guard against him before, and it will be the same in the future. Compared to this kind of thing, Jiang Zuli pleaded proudly, can you send me a copy of the photo too? Little He Qing smiled and nodded, of course. After that, Jiang Zuli quickly sat next to He Qing, and the two began to continue to send photos to each other. While sending, they also admired. Wow, Lin's Hengren looks so handsome in this photo of him giving a speech on the podium. Lily, look at it, really? Hengren is really photogenic. He looks good in any photo. And this photo together is also good. What are you two looking at? Han Wenwen appeared from the side without knowing when, and bent down to see what the 2 sisters were doing. Little He Qing saw the visitor. Wenwen, you're back. Han Wenwen was holding a few small bags in her hands, and said with a smile, I'm back from shopping. I bought things for you two according to your preferences. Here, this is for Lily, and this is for Xiao Qingqing. She handed the things to Jiang Zuli and He Qing. The two took a look at the things inside. They were all brand new underwear. Jiang Zuli was surprised. This brand is quite expensive, right? Thank you. Han Wenwen waved her hand. You're welcome. We're all sisters. After all, she secretly kissed Brother Hengren for a long time this afternoon, and Han Wenwen felt that she had earned it. Little He Qing said, we are looking at the rare photos of Lin's Hengren that we just got. Wenwen, do you want a copy? Where are the photos of Brother Hengren? Let me see. She also sat down and looked at the personal photos that she had never seen before. So handsome. Send them to me quickly. How did you get these photos, Jiang Zuli? It's a long story. We will tell you slowly. What are you talking about so lively? Lin's Hengren also walked over from a distance. The 3 girls had the photos when they heard the voice. In unison, nothing to talk about. After class in the afternoon, Lin's Hengren led the 3 little ones to leave school and spend the night in the villa. He Qing, Jiang Zuli, and Jiang Jingxi have been living in the villa for a week, but Han Wenwen and Lin's Hengren have not officially slept in it. Tonight is the first night that everyone sleeps in the same bed. Chapter 349 Overnight. Returning to the villa, they opened the door with a key. Everyone walked in, talking and laughing. Lin's Hengren's cell phone rang. He took a look and saw that it was Jiang Jingxi calling. She said that he might not be able to go home for a while because the school was organizing a counselor meeting. Lin's Hengren said there was no need to rush. After changing his shoes and sitting on the sofa and pouring a glass of water, Xiao Qingqing said, I'll go cook. Let's take a break. Han Wenwen was puzzled. Is Xiao Qingqing cooking? Aren't we buying food? Why do we have to buy food when we have a house? Of course it's healthier to cook it yourself. Han Wenwen thought it was okay and smiled. Then I'll go pick vegetables for Xiao Qingqing. Okay, Jiang Zuli said. I'll go feed the fish in our pond and help you in the kitchen later. There are still fish in the pond. Han Wenwen blinked her fox eyes. Jiang Zuli nodded. The day before yesterday I said the pond was empty, so Sister Jiang brought a few goldfish to raise in it. I also plan to plant some lotus flowers in it later. Really? Take me to see. Lin's Hengren was curious about the busy appearance of the 3 little ones, thinking about something. Seeing that the 2 of them went to the garden, Xiao Qingqing stood in front of Lin's Hengren and asked, what do you want to eat tonight? I'll cook it for you. If there's nothing in the refrigerator, I'll go buy it. Anyway, there's a big supermarket nearby with everything. Lin's Hengren didn't answer, but asked back, last week when Wenwen and I went to the south, were you the one who cooked, last week? No, Sister Jiang and I cooked 2 or 3 meals each, and most of the food was bought. After all, when you didn't come back, we just made do with what we had, and we didn't have the mood to cook. Now that you're back, you'll definitely eat at home." Lin's Hengren stretched out his hand, and Xiao Heqing blushed, slowly putting her little hand in Lin's Hengren's palm. "What's the matter?" "Nothing, don't rush to cook, come and sit next to me." Xiao Heqing glanced at Wenwen and Lily, who were watching the fish in the garden from a distance, and slowly sat down next to Lin's Hengren. Lin's Hengren put his arm around her shoulders, and Xiao Heqing slowly leaned on Lin's Hengren's shoulders. The voice was also soft and sticky. "What's wrong, Lin's Hengren? I'm thinking of hiring a nanny for my family someday." "Nanny? Why hire a nanny? Isn't that a waste of money? And there will be a stranger living in the house." Lin's Hengren looked at Xiao Heqing, who seemed very unhappy. "How much does it cost?" "The problem is that if we eat at home, we have to cook for 5 people at a time. It takes too long every day. It's okay to cook occasionally, but it will be very tiring to cook every day. Besides, Wenwen and Lily can't cook, and Jingxi has company and school things to do, so she's very busy every day." Xiao Heqing said blankly, "It's okay, I can do it myself. Cooking is not tiring, it's just cooking, otherwise why would I come back every day?" Lin's Hengren looked at Heqing, who was completely honest and thoughtful. "Are you stupid?" Xiao Heqing was speechless and didn't know how to answer. "You shouldn't be stupid." Lin's Hengren gave Xiao Heqing a slap on the head. Xiao he groaned and covered his head with his mouth. "I don't know why I was beaten again." "If you are not me, then who am I?" Lin's Hengren asked. Little He Qing did not refute. "Then if you say I am me, then I am. I will listen to you." Lin's Hengren was speechless. "If you hire a nanny, the cost is not a problem. Are you not happy about having a stranger in your home?" I am not happy about it. After all, we live together, right? What if that person goes out and says something? And I always feel a little uncomfortable when there are outsiders in the house. I don't like hiring a nanny. Besides, cooking is really simple. Are you afraid that I will be tired?" Lin's Hengren touched Little He Qing's head. He admitted it frankly. Of course, Little He Qing was shy for a moment and said, "I know you feel sorry for me, but I can still do this little thing. I cook every day at home. My mother goes out to work, and my grandma was sick and didn't dare to move. It's easy for me to cook for 3 or 5 people by myself. It doesn't take much time." Lin's Hengren thought, "Let me think about it." "Then you think about it slowly, but you have to tell me what you want to eat tonight first, otherwise what should I do?" Lin's Hengren, "Let's have seafood tonight." "I want to eat seafood." "Okay, then I'll go buy it. I'll transfer you the money. I still have the money you gave me last month, no need to transfer it." Little He Qing got up, but before leaving, she saw that Wenwen and Lily were not there, and she blushed and kissed Lin's Hengren on the face secretly. "I'm going to buy seafood." Lin's Hengren turned his head to look at the 2 girls in the garden and called out, "Wenwen." Han Wenwen, who was watching the fish, fluttered her invisible fox ears and stood up and looked back. "Brothers Hengren, did you call me?" "Yeah, come over here." "Okay." Little He Qing returned to the living room. Jiang Zuli saw He Qing going out to buy things in the garden, so she also got up and went with He Qing. Han Wenwen asked Lin's Hengren, "What's wrong, brothers Hengren?" Lin's Hengren got up and went to the study. "Wenwen, do you still remember that you said a long time ago that when we live together, everyone will be responsible for their own things?" Han Wenwen remembered. "Of course I remember. Tell me about your thoughts at that time." "Okay." In the evening, Little He Qing and Lily came back from buying seafood. Jingxi also left the school and returned to the villa. Everyone went to the kitchen to help cook and chat. After dinner, it was late at night. The 4 girls were making the bed and arranging the bedding in the bedroom. The super big bed that can sleep 7 people now has 5 single quilts side by side. Han Wenwen asked curiously because it was her first night here, "Why is the quilt on the bed a single quilt?" He Qing, Jiang Zuli and Jiang Jingxi looked at Han Wenwen. Jiang Jingxi, "What do you mean?" Han Wenwen said, "Sister Jiang, Xiao Heqing and Lily, you slept in the same quilt last week." The 3 girls nodded. Han Wenwen asked in a low voice, "Shouldn't we all sleep in the same quilt? Why do we have to sleep separately?" Everyone blushed. Fortunately, Lin's Hengren was not there at the moment. Everyone looked at the door and saw that Lin's Hengren had not come yet. He went to take a shower. Little He Qing blushed and said, "Last Monday we were planning to sleep together, but then we thought Lin's Hengren hadn't come yet, so we slept on separate quilts." Han Wenwen burst out laughing. "Are you 3 shy?" Jiang Zuli retorted arrogantly. How can I not be shy? Jiang Jingshi, as the eldest daughter of the Jiang family, had never thought of sleeping with other girls and her boyfriend before. But when one is right, since Zhang is back today, shouldn't we change to a big quilt? Sleep together. Everyone looked at each other. In the end, everyone agreed. Put away the 5 single quilts and spread a huge special quilt on the bed. This big quilt was also specially made by Jiang Jingshi a week ago, enough to cover 7 or 8 people. While spreading the quilt, the 4 girls didn't speak, and their faces were all blushing. Imagine what might happen tonight. Until Lin Zhengren, who had just taken a shower and was wearing pajamas, pushed the door in. I'm done. Why don't you guys go take a shower? Are you still making the bed? The 4 girls were startled at the same time, and quickly arranged the bedclothes. They said in unison, I'll go now, I'll go now. Chapter 350 Villa Bathroom. The 4 girls made their beds and hurriedly passed by Lin Zhengren. Although they secretly glanced at him during the process, they still quickly went to the bathroom. Let's go take a shower, they said together. Lin Zhengren looked at the shy 4 girls and probably knew what they were nervous about. He didn't say much, but went straight to the bed, opened the quilt and sat inside, reading and waiting. The bedroom door was closed. The 4 people walked to the bathroom door together. After arriving at the place, Zhang Zuli was the first to stop and ask, are we going to shower together? Or individually? Little He Qing whispered, if we shower one by one, it will be too slow. It will take at least an hour, and Lin Zhengren is still waiting in the bedroom. Zhang Zuli's face turned red again, and she stammered, What do you mean by waiting? What is he waiting for? It doesn't matter if we shower slowly. Anyway, we don't have anything else to do today. Han Wenwen covered her face and said, since we have all come out of the bedroom, we must shower together. Otherwise, what will we say when Brother Zhengren asks about it later? It can't be that the 4 of us all leave the bedroom and then shower separately, and the others wait in the living room, right? Zhang Zuli thought about it and said, why do we have to come out as 4 people? Whoever showers should come out. Everyone knew that when Lin Zhengren appeared just now, everyone was a little nervous, so they all left the bedroom. As the most mature sister, Jiang Jingshi suggested, since we are all girls, it doesn't matter if we take a bath together. Besides, there is a bathtub in this bathroom, so we can take a bath. Han Wenwen was surprised. There's a bathtub. I have never taken a bathtub since I was a child. Little He Qing smiled. I tried it a few days ago and found it quite fun and comfortable. Lily also nodded. I tried it too, and it was quite comfortable. Han Wenwen was even more excited. So after the discussion of the girls, they decided to take a bath together to save time. One by one, they walked into the bathroom filled with steam. Honest dialogue. Jiang Jingshi was not so shy. After all, she had a younger sister, and they took a bath together from time to time when they were young. However, He Qing, Zhang Zuli and Han Wenwen, although they have been sisters for so many years, they only traveled together last time. Now there is also Sister Jiang, so they are still a little shy. But looking at Jiang Jingshi's still natural face, it made them feel much more relaxed. Zhang Zuli put all the clothes aside, turned on the shower head, and squeezed a little shower gel into her palm. Sister Jiang, have you ever taken a shower with other girls before? The 2 shower heads in the bathroom were turned on at the same time. Jiang Jingshi smiled and said, when I was a child, I often took a shower with Qian. Although I took less showers when I grew up, I still took showers together occasionally. Han Wenwen smeared shower gel on her arms. I almost forgot that Sister Jiang and Jiang Jin are sisters. But Sister Jiang means that you sisters will take showers together from time to time now? It's really hard to imagine according to classmate Jiang Jin's personality. Jiang Jingshi smiled awkwardly, rarely, because Qian's personality definitely makes her not willing to be with me, but sometimes I will rush into the bathroom on a whim. And she has no choice but to come with me. Little He Qing was shy. Rush, she wondered, does classmate Jiang Jin like to not lock the door? Jiang Jingshi replied, of course I lock the door, but as the elder sister I always have the key, so I can still go in if I want to. Zhang Zuli felt so magical after hearing this. The 3 of us are only children, and we don't have any experience in this regard. But Jiang Jin's personality is so cold. Doesn't she usually talk much at home? Jiang Jingshi stroked her hair with her hand. You actually misunderstood Qian a little bit. Qian's coldness is actually directed at outsiders. At home, she basically answers whatever you ask. She is not a very dull character. At most she is a little arrogant. Especially after high school, Qianqian's personality is much more cheerful than before. The three little ones were stunned, and they didn't really notice it. After all, they were not that familiar with Jiang Jin. Jiang Jingshi blinked her beautiful peach blossom eyes. Speaking of this, I suddenly realized one thing. Since the four of us are Zhang's girlfriends and sisters, then in a sense, you three are also Qianqian's sisters. After all, Qianqian calls Zhang brother-in-law, so she must call you sisters. The three little ones were stunned. They really had never thought of such a strange view. But it really is, a younger sister has appeared out of thin air. At this moment, Jiang Jin, who didn't know where she was sneezing crazily, and always felt that the stinky sister was causing trouble for herself again. After the four girls in the bathroom took a simple shower, they all went to the big bathtub. It was a little crowded. The four girls' feet touched each other. They looked at each other. Han Wenwen looked at Jiang Jingshi's snow-white swan neck and figure. Sister Jiang has a perfect figure. Jiang Jingshi thanked them and looked at the three of them. You three have different figures. He Qing is curvy, Wenwen is curvy, and Lily is cute from head to toe. Little He Qing hugged her upper body shyly, while Han Wenwen smiled. Jiang Zuli hid her mouth in the water of the bathtub. Although cute is a good word, she still hopes that she is curvy. These three guys are so well developed. Why can't I grow up? It's strange. Jiang Zuli sat back and asked. After taking a bath later, she didn't even say anything, just spit out the 5 words after taking a bath later, and everyone was silent for no reason. Everyone looked ashamed, looked at each other and then looked away. Jiang Jingshi covered her lips with the back of her hand and asked in a low voice, although I have a younger sister, this is the first time I sleep like this. You should wear pajamas after you get into bed, right? Xiao Heqing lowered her head. Of course you have to, otherwise how can you sleep like this? After more than 10 minutes, the four girls finally finished their showers and returned to the bedroom. It was Han Wenwen who opened the door. Lin Zhengren glanced at the four girls in loose pajamas. After taking a shower, the girls' fragrance was particularly strong, and you could smell it as soon as you opened the door. Are you done? The four nodded. They went to bed together. The positions they lay in were the same as the positions they had just played in the bathroom, from left to right. Xiao Heqing, Jiang Jingshi, Lin Zhengren, Jiang Zuli, Han Wenwen. The four of them got into bed and lay on the bed, very quiet, motionless. Lin Zhengren put a book aside. I turned off the lights, the four girls responded. So he also lay in bed. The huge bedroom was so quiet that nothing could be heard except the shallow breathing. There wasn't even the sound of turning over. After a few minutes, Lin Zhengren closed his eyes and asked, are you four usually this quiet when you sleep? The four girls were silent, not knowing what to say. Lin Zhengren knew that none of them would be able to sleep like this. Jiang Jingshi responded nervously, well, what's wrong, Zhang? Lin Zhengren stretched out his hand and suddenly hugged Jiang Jingshi into his arms, and the three little ones were alert. Lin Zhengren closed his eyes and said, it's okay for Jingshi to be so nervous for the first time, but why are you three so quiet? If you want to sleep, can't you just hold each other and sleep? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.